KP classes dedicated to excellence.
Hello everyone, welcome to this discussion session on GATE 2022 architecture paper. Before I start with this discussion, with the solution part of GATE 2022, let us first discuss few points about the exam paper itself. Firstly, the general feedback from most of the students is the paper is anywhere between moderate to difficult, and the cutoff probably could be around 35 marks. However, this preliminary stage we cannot guess the cutoff, but yeah, probably that could be the possible uh, mark around which you will be having the cutoff for this particular examination. However, if you want to get your predicted rank, you can check the answer key. You can find the link of the answer key of career avenues and also the rank predictor link in the description of this video. You can cross check your score, you fill that form, and you will get your predicted rank for the gate exam within few days. And before I start with the solution again, in this video we'll be discussing the solutions of common part and the architecture part, that is part A and part B1. I'll be skipping through the general aptitude. Few observations of this question paper of GATE 2022 architecture and planning question paper. Like always, general aptitude was very simple. Uh, it was easy to score well in the general aptitude part. Other than that, from the subject part, that is from the core topics, architecture and planning, one major observation which is new in this particular paper. Last year when MSQ questions were introduced, multiple select questions were introduced, these questions were included only in the 2 marks part. But this year there are multiple select questions in all the sections, 1 mark part of common part, 1 mark part of architecture portion, planning portion. So there are multiple select questions included in both 1 mark and 2 mark. That is one thing which is new in this paper. Other than that, the number of numericals in the 1 mark. If you see the common part, there are around 6 to 7 numerical questions, I think, for 1 mark. So generally, 1 mark numericals is something in previous gate was not very common. Generally around 4 or maximum 5. But this year, the number of numericals in the 1 mark also has been increased. There are in the architecture part also you have 1 mark numericals. In the common part as well, you have 1 mark numericals. And finally, there is no clear-cut boundary in some topics, like you have climate. Climate responsive design is something which is written in the common part. Solar architecture is something which is written in the architecture part. If you see this first question of the common part, the concentric circles in a sun path diagram. Now this ideally should be a part of the architecture portion. But then, even though it is of solar architecture, you see it was given in the common part. So you cannot draw clear-cut boundary in few topics. That was evident as we have been informing our students. Uh, some topics, it's not very easy to draw a clear-cut boundary. That was evident in the question paper also. Without any further delay, let us look into the solutions of GATE 2022 question paper, starting with the common part first. So first question number 11. The concentric circles in a sun path diagram. I hope you are aware, in a sun path diagram, the concentric circles represent inside the sun chart diagram. You have these concentric circles. These concentric circles represent the altitude angle. So A is the correct answer. Azimuth angle is represented on the periphery. This is azimuth angle, and day of the year it is included on the sun paths which are given on the sun chart diagram. These represent the day. Hour of the day is represented on these vertical orientation lines along the sun path. So these are the four components: altitude angle, azimuth angle, day of the year, and also time. All these are the four things which are mentioned on the sun chart diagram, and altitude angle is represented on the concentric circles. That's the correct answer for the first one. Second question, the operational guidelines on credit link subsidy scheme for EWS, January 2017, by Ministry of Housing and Poverty Alleviation, Government of India defines EWS houses as those having an annual income up to, the answer for this is 3 lakhs. The definition is EWS category is up to 3 lakh per annum annual income. Annual household income is up to 3 lakh. For LIG category, it is 3 lakh 1 rupee, that is 3 to 6, up to 6 lakh per annum. Then you have MIG, ranging again within MIG, there is MIG 1 and MIG 2. So the range is from 6 to 12 MIG 1 and 12 to 18 lakhs per annum, that is MIG 2. So that's the categorization as per the operational guidelines of credit linked subsidy scheme by Ministry of Housing and Urban Poverty Alleviation. Answer for this particular question, however, is 3 lakh per annum. That is question number 12. Next one, which of the following is a vector graphic software? The answer for this is Inkscape. Inkscape is a vector graphic software. Odeon, I hope you know, is a software which is used for acoustical performance and acoustical study of buildings. Adobe Dreamweaver is used for website building, and Design Builder is a software which is used again for energy simulation of buildings. So Inkscape is the answer, which is a vector graphic software here. Question number 14. The main cable of a suspension bridge supports the deck with hangers. These hangers are equidistant along the length of the bridge and represent a uniformly distributed load. This is key here. Assuming the cable to be weightless and as compared to the load applied, the best approximation of the shape that the cables take for this loading is dash. So when a cable is applied with UDL, the shape which it takes, this curve is known as curve which is formed when UDL is applied onto cables. That's known as catenary curve. That's the answer for this particular question, number 14. Question number 15. Arrange the following road types in the descending order of accessibility. Descending as in most accessible, starting with the most accessible with reducing accessibility. Most accessible obviously is local street. After local street, you have collector road. That's the second level of accessibility. Then you have arterial road, and finally you will be having the expressway. SRPQ should be the answer. SRPQ, option B. That's the correct answer for decreasing order of accessibility. Question number 16. A two-dimensional visual composition is given and they're asking what it represents. So this particular diagram, it represents interlocking, intersecting, interlacing, interpenetrating. This pattern is called as interlacing, like how fabric is prepared. The strands are interlaced to prepare fabric. Bamboo stripes are interlaced to create baskets. So this pattern is interlacing pattern. Interlocking pattern is basically a tessellation, like paving blocks and all. Those are interlocking patterns. Interlacing is one fit into the other. It creates a uh, uniform sheet, like how basket and fabric is. Golden ratio refers to. Now, golden ratio, I hope you are aware, the ratio of 1.618 or 1 is to 1.618. This ratio is called as golden ratio. If you find out this ratio 1 upon 1.618, 1 upon 1.618, this will give you 0.618. You can cross check, you can check each and every options. You have accessibility to the scientific calculator on the screen also in the examination. You can easily cross check. 1 is to root 2 is 1 is to 1.414. This will not give you the value of 0.618. So 2 is to 1 plus root 5, that actually gives you the answer 0.618. So this is the answer for golden ratio. 2 is to root 5 is 2.23, I guess. So 2 is to 2.3.23. 2.23 plus 1 is 3.23. 2 is to 3.23 approximately. As far as I remember, that's the value of root 5. So 2.23 plus 1 is 3.23. You check and you should get the answer. So B is the correct answer from the given options. 16 is to 9 obviously is not 0.618. It is more than 1. Only option B is the correct answer. Coming to the next one, Hogarth's line of beauty is William Hogarth was the one who gave this idea of line of beauty. Line of beauty was a S curve or a serpentine curve, which William Hogarth felt it induced curiosity at the person who is looking at it. So it's a design principle basically. Serpentine line is the answer of a line of beauty. Which of the following sites are added to Ramsar list in the year 2020? So the two sites from these given, this is a multiple select question here. However, in this question paper, it is not mentioned, but in the examination on the top of each and every question, it will be mentioned. If it is an MSQ question or MCQ question or NET question, then what the weightage for that question is. This is a 1 mark multiple select question. I told you in the beginning, multiple select questions are asked in the 1 mark also this year. So, which of the following sites are added in the Ramsar list in the year 2020? The answer for this, so it's based on general awareness of Ramsar list basically. The answer is Asan Conservation Reserve, which is the first Ramsar list site in Uttarakhand state. And the second is Lonar Lake. Lonar Lake is the only basalt rock lake formed due to meteor falling onto Earth. If you look at this, is in Maharashtra. So it's a lake formed due to a meteor which fall onto the basalt rock formation. Deccan Plateau is more or less basalt rock formation. So this is the only site in India where a meteor strike created a lake on the Earth's surface in India. Right. The remaining, there are only four across the world of the basaltic lakes which are formed due to meteors falling on Earth. Three are in Brazil, one is in India, and Lonar Lake is one of it. And it is well known for as a wetland conservatory in itself. So Lonar Lake is the answer. B and C, B and D are the answers. These are the two sites which were added in the Ramsar list in the year 2020. Now you see this question, Hogarth's line of beauty. Even if you don't know this particular concept, you could take an approximated guess by looking into the other options. Horizontal straight line, vertical straight line, if you see. A and C could directly be eliminated probably. A vertical and horizontal straight line, why would it be given a name of line of beauty, right? So you can take an approximate guess even if you don't know the exact concept sometimes in the gate exam. So yeah, that's 1 mark question. So we still have few more 1 mark questions in the common part. This is question number 20. Which of the following helps in keeping direct solar radiation off of the building? This also is an MSQ multiple select question. You had to select. So in multiple select question, one option can also be correct sometimes. But here, let us see from the given four options, which two or which three or which one or which four are solar radiation protection members. Mashrabia is actually one. This is a Persian element which is used for reducing the solar heat gain. It's like a screen which is provided on the openings. Badgir actually is a wind catcher. Badgir and Malkaf. Badgir and Malkaf was used in Egypt, in the region of Egypt. Badgir was used in the region of Persia. Both are related to wind catchers. Wind catchers are not used, these are used for ventilation purposes, not for protection from solar radiation. Mashtabi and Chaja, obviously everyone knows. Mashtabi and Chaja are the answer uh, for design members which keep solar radiation out of the building. Question number 21, again a multiple select question for 1 mark. As per the Handbook of Professional Documents 2015 Council of Architecture India, architects are liable dash. There are four conditions given. Which of these conditions are where architect is responsible for? Even if you have not read the professional documents recently before the exam, from your experience, from your college days, or even by using general knowledge, you can answer this question easily. Let us look into the options. If the building is used for any other purpose than the one which is mentioned it was designed for. Obviously, no, architect is not responsible. If the building is used for some other purpose, it is the client's responsibility to use the building as per the existing land use or design, original design. If any unauthorized changes or illegal modifications are made by the owner, obviously architect is not responsible for that. The owner is responsible for such activities. If the client suffers damage or loss due to lack of proper professional service, yes, architect is responsible for that. If the architect fails to attain the standard of care as prescribed by law, exactly that also is the answer where architect is responsible for. So C and D are the correct answers. Now in multiple select questions, instead of these two options, if you select only one, you will not be given mark. You have to select both the or uh, if there are two or three or four, you have to select all the correct answers only. Then you will be given the mark of that particular question. Let us look into this next one. This again is a multiple select question for 1 mark again. In last year's paper, when multiple select question was introduced, not even a single question was asked for 1 mark in multiple select. But here you have around 6 questions this year, I think, in multiple select pattern also. As per United Nations, Transforming a World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development 2015, which of the following sustainable development goals directly address the water related issues? There are a total of 17 sustainable development goals as published by United Nations, of which directly which address the water related issues are 6 and 7. SDG 6 look or talks about pure water for drinking purposes and sanitation, improvement of sanitation. Whereas, so that is a directly drinking water related goal, sustainable development goal, that is C. The Sustainable Development Goal 14 talks about the aquatic life, the life animals present in the uh, water. So that's also water related issue. So C and D are the correct options for this particular question. Moving to the numerical part of the common portion. Question number 23. For a masonry section, the line of action of force shifts to incorporate the effects of lateral forces and induced moments. Consider a masonry section of width 600 mm. So the width is given as 600 mm. See, that's the thickness of the wall. Assuming a zero tensile stress capacity and linear stress strain response for the entire domain of loading, the minimum value of eccentricity at which the section will crack in mm is dash. 600 mm is the thickness. This is a direct standard for masonry. The eccentricity at which the section will crack, the minimum value of eccentricity at which the section will crack is given as 1/6 of the thickness. So it is thickness upon 6. So that is basically 1/6 of 600. The answer is 100 mm. This particular numerical answer question. In mm, the answer is 100. Next numerical answer type question. So you see this year, because MSQ and NAT questions, the number of multiple select and numerical questions together, it has been increased. So the total number of questions with effective negative marking, that has reduced a lot from this year. Last year's paper, if you see, there are a lot of MCQ questions compared to this. So the number of questions with negative marking would be more. So the problem of negative marking is limited to only few questions where you need to take care of the risk taking analysis and all. You can focus only on few questions for that part. All these you can take risk even if you don't know the answer, because these are obviously, it's always better that you know it properly, because you have to maximize your score in the examination. Anyways, this one mark question again, numerical type. The maximum and minimum indoor drivable temperature of a room are 38 and 34 respectively. If the corresponding outdoor maximum and minimum drivable temperatures are 42 and 30 respectively, the thermal damping of the room is given by. Thermal damping is calculated as a percentage. Thermal damping is calculated. So definition of thermal damping is basically the difference in variation between indoor and outdoor. The difference in variation between indoor and outdoor expressed as a percentage of outside variation. Difference between the variation of outdoor and indoor expressed as a percentage of the outside variation. So difference between the inside and outside variation. Outside, say the delta T is variation, basically difference delta T outside minus delta T inside. This is called as variation outside minus variation inside, expressed as a percentage of the variation outside into 100. So this basically will be, what is variation outside? It is 42 and 30. Variation outside is 12 degrees centigrade minus variation inside is 4 degrees centigrade upon outside variation is 12 again into 100. So the answer for this is 12 minus 4 is 8. The answer should be 8 upon 12 expressed as a percentage. 8 upon 12 into 100 is the answer. You can check, I think you'll get the answer as 66.67%. 8 upon 12 is basically 2 upon 3. 4 2 is 8, 4 3 is 12. 2 by 3 is 0.67. So that's the answer for this. Excuse me. That's the answer for this question number 24. Question number 25. Again, a 1 mark numerical. A building site measures 96 square centimeters on a scale of 1 is to 12500. Actual area represents dash in hectares. Actual area is to be calculated. Now, scale is generally represented as a ratio of the length. 1 is to 1,25,000 or say 12,500 here, right? So scale of 1 is to 12,500 is nothing but 1 centimeter on the site, 1 centimeter on the map is equal to 12,500 centimeters on the actual ground. Uh, when you express the scale for areas, like 1 centimeter square will be how much on site, you need to square the scale. So the scale factor for area, the scale factor for area is basically square the given scale, 12,500, just square it. The scale factor for your area, I think, will be 125 square. You can use your calculators. It would come around. Use your calculator. Let me just quickly check. 1562540. So that's the scale factor for area. Now the next step is pretty much simple. 1 centimeter square on the map will be 156250000 centimeter square on the actual terms. Here we are given 96 centimeter square. How much would that be? Right? So the actual area is equal to 96 multiplied by the scale factor, that is 156250000. This will be the actual area, but this will be in centimeter square. They're asking us the answer in hectares, so you have to divide this by, firstly, to convert the centimeter square into meter square, you need to divide it by 100 into 100. 1 centimeter is basically 1 upon 100 meter. So to convert into centimeter square into meter square, divided by 100 into 100, and then to convert it to hectares, you need to divide it by 10,000, because 1 hectare is 10,000 square meters. Simplify this, you should get your answer as 150 hectares. The answer for this is 150. So that's question number 25. So find out the scale factor, convert the area, convert the units, centimeter square into meter square first, divided by 100 into 100, to divide into hectares, divided by 10,000. That's the answer for 25. Next question number 26. An off-street car parking lot contains a total of 75 bays. If the parking lot was used by 687 cars over a period of 12 hours, 687 cars in 12 hours, 75 bays. The average parking turnover of the parking lot. Now, even if you don't know what is average parking turnover, it is always better if you know the definition. But even if you don't know, in gate, this is a good thing. The units would be mentioned. If you see here, in vehicles per hour per bay. So by looking into the excuse me, by looking into the measurement unit, looking into the measurement unit itself, you can understand the concept of what is average parking turnover. It is vehicles per hour per bay. Number of vehicles 687, per hour per bay 12 hours, 75 bays. That's it. Vehicles per 687 vehicles per divided by 12 hours into 75 days. So you need to find out how many vehicles are occupying a bay in 1 hour duration on an average. That's basically average parking turnover. Number of vehicles occupying a bay per unit time that counted or measured over a day is known as average parking turnover of that particular day. So we are calculating that as 687 divided by 12 into 75. 12 into 75 I think should be 900. So 687 upon 900, you'll get your answer. You can use your calculators and check. Your answer should be 0.7633. They're not asking us to express in a percentage, so you will directly express it as 0.7633. Round off to two decimal places, your answer will be 0.76. That's the answer for this question. Next one, this is again a numerical question. You see, there are a lot of numericals for 1 mark this year in the common part. Hydraulic radius of the following rectangular open drain section in MMS dash. Hydraulic radius is calculated as wet cross-sectional area upon wet cross-sectional perimeter. Wet cross-sectional area on wet cross-sectional perimeter. Wet cross-sectional area 600 by 250. You only count the wet area. Wet area is only till here. You don't take the total drain cross-sectional area. So it is 600 multiplied by 250. That's wet cross-sectional area. Divided by wet cross-sectional perimeter in an open drain. You take it only from three sides. So it is basically this length plus this length plus this length. This is called as wet cross-sectional perimeter. You don't take the top length in the open ring. So this 250 plus 600 plus 250, you will get it as 500 plus 600, which is 1100. So divide this by 1100. 600 into 250 upon 1100. You can use your calculators and find out the answer. it would be 136.36 mm. They're asking us the answer in mm itself, so I have done the calculation in millimeters itself. That's question number 27 for 1 mark. Next one, question number 28, again for 1 mark. I think this is the last question in the 1 mark part. Let us look into this. A town with 0.45 million population sends its entire organic waste to a composting site on daily basis. This is a keyword here, daily basis, through a truck of 15 ton carrying capacity. 15 ton is the capacity, population is 0.45 millions. They're transporting the organic waste on daily basis. Assuming the total waste generated per capita per day is 0.21 kg, and of this 40% is organic waste. So first thing is, we know the carrying capacity of each truck. First step is to find out what is the daily production of organic waste. What is the daily generation of organic waste? That's the first step. How to calculate the daily generation of organic waste? Total population multiplied by the total rate of generation, which is 0.21 kg, on 40% or into 0.4, 40% of it. So firstly, multiply the population with per capita generation of waste. Population is 0.45 million, so it is basically 0.45 into 10 to the power of 6. Million is 10 to the power of 6. 1 के बाद 6 zeros. So 0.45 into 10 to the power of 6 multiplied by 0.21. That will give the total waste generated, and 40% of it into 0.4. This is total generation of organic waste on daily basis. Now this is the amount of waste generated. You can use your calculators and find it. 450000 45,000 basically, or 4,50,000 multiplied by 0.21 into 0.4. I've done that calculation, and this will give me just a second. 4,50,000 multiplied by 0.21 multiplied by 0.4, 37800 kg. Now we need to convert this into tons. 1 ton is 1000 kg, so divide this by 1000, you will get this as 37.8 tons. This is the total quantity of organic waste generated on daily basis, and the waste is to be carried on daily basis. So this is the amount of waste to be carried each day. How many trips you require each day? Trips required each day. Trips required each day. Round trips, you can say. Round trip is basically going and coming. So the one round trip can carry 15 tons. So a truck will carry 15 tons and come back empty. So that is one round trip. One round trip can carry 15 tons. How many round trips will you require to carry 37.8 tons? You will obviously require 3 trips. First trip, full capacity the truck can carry. Second trip, full capacity the truck can carry will be done with 30 tons. Remaining 7.8 tons, there is no other way but you require one more trip. I cannot say I will do only half trip and carry the 7.8 tons waste. No, you will require one complete trip. So daily round trips required will be 3 trips. They're asking us minimum number of weekly round trips. Round trips required each week. In 1 week, you will have 7 days. So 7 into 3, your answer will be 21 trips. That is the minimum number of round trips required. So 21 is the correct answer here. They're asking the answer in integers, so you'll write it as 21 directly. So that's a last question for 1 mark. Let us now move towards the 2 mark questions. 2 mark questions of common part. First one. This is an MCQ question, so there will be a negative marking in this question if you do it wrong. The correct sequence of following construction project development stages as per NBC 2016. You can check NBC 2016 volume 2. The first portion, the first part 7 I think it is, of volume 2 NBC is project management. So in that you have the details with respect to the stages in construction project development. So you see resource planning, project inception, commissioning and handing over, tendering, site survey, soil investigation, selection of construction methodology. By using simple logic, project inception, you have to start the project first, right? So, excuse me. So inception is the first step. After project inception, the last is obviously handing over. So you will end with R. Start with Q, end with R. There are two options. So you have to select from C and D by simple understanding. Look into the details of each and every step. After this, you will be having site investigation, obviously T. And then the next step would include selection of the construction methodology. Only when you know the method, then you go for the tendering process and resource planning and all based on the required methodology. If I say I will use PT slab construction, post tension or pre tension slab. So if I'm doing the, uh, if I'm using PT slabs or if I use flat slab, based on the technology, I need to plan my resource and call for tenders, right? So first selection of construction methodology U, then you have the resource planning, then you have the tendering process, and lastly handing over QTUPSR. Option C is the correct answer. So that's the 2 mark question, first 2 mark question, the common part. This is based on project management basically. It is a subject in the common portion itself. Next one. Match the aspects in group 1 with the corresponding items in group 2. Fire safety, seismic safety, water efficiency, accessible design. And some options are given. Accessible design, obviously, it would be stair lift directly. Because what is stair lift? The equipment, the hydraulic equipment which is used when there is no possibility to construct a ramp for accessible design, you have to use stair lifts, the hydraulic lift which is used instead of ramp. So accessible design, the answer for that would be stair lift. So from these options you can check, even if you know one or two, you can easily answer the question. So option A and D, these are the two possibilities you can check for. And the thing which you can observe is seismic safety. In both the cases, it is auxiliary damper itself. So even if you know one or two options, you can work with it and find out the answer. Remaining, if you see water efficiency, for water efficiency, you require aerator. Obviously, you cannot use aerator for fire safety. What is an aerator? Something which pumps fresh air or oxygen. In fire safety, if you use fresh air or oxygen, the possibility of accident or level of damage caused will obviously increase. It has nothing to do with fire safety. Water efficiency, the answer is aerator for that. And fire safety, it is zero strength barrier. That's a means which is used to estimate the fire safety levels of any surface. So 2543 is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer for the given options. Next one, match the states in group 1 with the corresponding vernacular building typologies in group 2. So they're asking us to match the terms with vernacular architecture. So for Kerala, it is Naluketu. Jharkhand, it is Bhumkuria. Nagaland, Morung. Gujarat, Pole. So these are the traditional vernacular building typologies of these states. 4312 should be the correct answer. Uh, Even if you know one or two things from these, you can work out like Gujarat, Pole. I hope everyone knows that, right? So you have option A or D. So by looking into the words and states, also you can try to take a educated guess if you don't know the exact answer in such questions. Next one. Match the examples in group 1 with the corresponding typologies in group 2. Navi Mumbai, Hisar, Greater Mumbai, and Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor. Obviously, Delhi Mumbai Industrial Corridor is an investment region. I hope everyone knows that, right? And Hisar is a counter magnet. Greater Mumbai is a complete urban agglomeration which includes all the surrounding portions of Mumbai also. Navi Mumbai, on the other hand, it is, what are the options left out? Either uh, 3 or 4. Obviously, it is a satellite town. So 3125 should be the correct answer. Option C is the answer for this particular question. Next one. Match the places or events in group 1 with the corresponding heritage significance or characteristics in group 2. Chhatrapati Shivaji Terminus in Mumbai, that is a That's of Victorian Gothic revival style with Indian features in it. So it's a building which has Victorian Gothic and Indian features assimilated into it. So see, for P it is 3. Kumbh Mela is an intangible cultural heritage of India. Intangible cultural heritage are basically not buildings. Cultural heritage, but something which is not tangible. What is tangible? Something which is physical, a physical asset. That is tangible heritage. Intangible cultural heritage is some dance forms, traditional dance forms, traditional events. So Kumbh Mela is a intangible cultural heritage. Walled city of Jaipur is a traditional human settlement reflecting an interchange of Hindu and Mughal ideas. The features of Hindu and Mughal ideas are seen in the city of Jaipur. Rock shelters of Bhimbetka, that is a long interaction between people and landscape because these are prehistoric uh, things in the Indian subcontinent. So 3451 is the correct answer. Option B should be the answer for this question. Next one, question number 34. Again, it is a 2 marks question from the common part. Match the urban design concepts in group 1 with the corresponding proponents in group 2. Again, even if you know one or two, you can try to work out for the solution. Let us look into these concepts. Vertical theory of urban design. This was given by Ken Young, who is an architect who worked on high-rise construction. Vertical theory of urban design basically focuses on urban design using skyscrapers. It talks about vertical gardening and other innovative features which can be assimilated into the urban design with skyscrapers. So vertical theory of urban design, Ken Young, who was an architect who was known for work in skyscrapers. So for P, it is 4. I hope everyone knows serial vision also has been asked a lot of times previously in GATE exam already. Serial vision, Gordon Cullen. I hope everyone knows this as well. So even if you know one or two things, you can look for or P4 and R2. There is only one option with that. That is option B. Theory of responsive environment was given by Ian Bentley. Winter urbanism is a concept given by Norman Preston. So option B is the correct answer for this question number 34. Next one. In the following sketch, P, Q, R, and S refer to elements of urban design. Identify P, Q, R, S. Right? So P here is obviously landmark. P landmark. Then you have option R. R is basically path. Q is edges. S is vista. Vista is basically a view in which you have a landmark fit into it. So that is vista. So the correct answer is landmark, edges, path and vista. Option B is the correct answer. Next one, these terms, these concepts are used in urban design basically. Next one, question number 36. As per URDPFI guidelines of 2015, match the types of healthcare facilities in Group 1 with the corresponding population served per unit. So, uh, multi-speciality hospital. Multi-speciality hospital is designed for a population of 1 lakh for every 1 lakh. Dispensary is for every 15,000 population. Veterinary hospital, one for every 5 lakh as per URDP5 guidelines. You can check the guidelines actually. And finally, for general hospital, it is 2,50,000. So that's the answer to this question. 3154. 3154 is option B. So you can check that as your answer. Next one, question number 37. This is a question where you have top view of buildings, plan forms of buildings given. You have to match them with the corresponding project names. So P here, this is the shape for the plan of commerce building in Frankfurt. That is P3. Q is a very well-known design of Parliament of Luai Khan, which is Parliament building in Dhaka, number 5, Q5. For R, this is the new Parliament of Egypt in Cairo, and finally S, this is the Apple campus in California. 3512, option D is the correct answer for this question. Number 38. Match the biosphere reserves in India with the corresponding locations. So recently, I hope at least one of these was in the news recently. Simlipal Biosphere Reserve. There was this fire accident last year, which happened in Simlipal Biosphere Reserve. This is in the Mayurbhanj district of Odisha. For S, it is 5. Agasyamala Biosphere is in the Western Ghats of Kerala and Tamil Nadu. So there's only one option with P2S5, that is option B. You can also check the others. Nokrek Biosphere Reserve is in the Meghalaya, state of Meghalaya, and Cold Biosphere Reserve is in the western Himalayan region of Himachal Pradesh. Obviously, from the given options, colder region is only one. So for R, it is directly one. So by applying simple logic also, you can try to answer such questions. This was asked for 2 marks in the common part. Next one, in traditional Persian, now you have these multiple select questions from here. Please give me a moment. In traditional Persian context, Khanat system refers to. Now, this is a underground waterway channels which were used in in traditional Persian cities. You have these underground, you have these chambers dug into the earth's surface, and the underground water is channelized across these layers. Instead of pulling them onto the surface and carrying, underground channels are constructed. So, underground waterway, that's an answer. This is a multiple select question that will be mentioned in the question paper in the examination. Don't worry. In this paper, it is not mentioned, but in the actual paper it will be mentioned on the top what type of question it is. Multiple select question, option A is the correct answer. System where water is raised by a series of scoops fixed to a moving belt stretched between two wheels. No, this is not the correct explanation for Kanath system. Excuse me. A method of conducting water from a source well rather than raising it. That's an appropriate answer. A system where water is conducted from enclosure to enclosure by straightforward gravity fall. That's also a correct explanation. So the correct answer for this question is A, C, and D. Next one. Which of the following is or are classified as the principles of universal design? There are 7 principles of universal design which were published by a group of architects, product designers, and all. So, out of those 7 principles of universal design, perceptible information, tolerance of error, simple and intuitive use. These are the points which you see in the 7 basic principles of universal design. Occult balance is not a feature in it's not a principle of universal design. So A, B, D is the correct answer for this. Next one, as per URDPFI guidelines 2015, which of the following organoleptic and physical parameters comply with the acceptable limit requirements of drinking water quality? This you can see in the physical infrastructure part of URDPFI guidelines. The physical infrastructure portion of your DPFI guidelines, you can find a table with respect to the drinking water requirements. Color maximum of 5 Hazen units, turbidity maximum of 1 NTU, and the total dissolved solids of maximum 500 mg per liter are the correct options. pH value minimum of 10 is absolutely incorrect. The acceptable range for pH is 6.5 to 8.5. That's the range, it is not 10. So A, B, D are the correct answers. For question number 41, this was asked for 2 marks in the common part. Next one, in an ideal air conditioning cycle shown below, which of the following statement is or are true in the segments P, Q, S, R? So a refrigeration cycle is given. I hope everyone knows the basics of refrigeration cycle. Air conditioning cycle or refrigeration cycle is a principle where which is used basically in air conditioners, refrigerators. You use these 4 components: compressor, condenser, expansion valve, and evaporator coil. Cooling takes place at evaporating coil. This is the outdoor unit, like if you're having a split AC. The outdoor unit will have the condenser, compressor, and expansion valve in it. Indoor unit of a split air conditioner will have an evaporator coil inside, right? We do discuss all these in the classes. Uh, anyways, uh, which of the following statements is correct for the refrigerant? Now, when refrigerant flows between these four components, what happens to the refrigerant? That is something which you need to know. What is the function of a compressor? It increases, it makes the refrigerant, it subjects the refrigerant under high pressure. So Q should be high pressure. So from the given options, at Q high pressure, Q is given as low pressure. So this is incorrect. This is not a correct option. Coming to P, vapor at low pressure. That's correct because what is the function of compressor? It converts low pressure to high pressure. Compresses the refrigerant, makes it from low pressure to high pressure, and the input is in the form of vapor because at evaporator the refrigerant vaporizes. So you will have vapor at low pressure here. So vapor at low pressure, P, that is correct answer. And here you will have vapor at high pressure. Vapor at high pressure flows through the condenser. The output will be liquid refrigerant at high pressure. So this will be liquid refrigerant at high pressure. Liquid refrigerant at high pressure, that's the correct answer. Now when this liquid refrigerant passes through the expansion valve is opposite to compressor. In compressor you apply pressure and subject it to high pressure. In expansion valve you release the pressure suddenly. This is called a Joule-Thomson effect, because of which air conditioning cycle actually works. It cooling takes place. So expansion valve is something where the pressure is suddenly released, so the output will be low pressure, and when you release the pressure, some part of the liquid will vaporize. So out of the expansion valve you will get a combination of liquid. Mostly it is liquid, but some part is vapor also. Mainly it is under low pressure. So liquid vapor mixture at low pressure is the correct answer. A, C and D are the correct answers for this question. Only Q part is mentioned incorrectly, that is vapor at high pressure. It is given as vapor at low pressure in the options. So that is incorrect. Moving forward, so that's question number 42 for 2 marks in the common part. This is from the concept of HVAC, heating, ventilation, air conditioning. Moving on. Which of the following is or are characteristics of Mughal garden? This is from landscape architecture. Again, a multiple select question. You need to identify the characteristics of Mughal garden. Pretty simple. Symmetrical and geometrical patterns. Obviously true because you have those charbagh layout, and in this Charbagh layout, the boundary lines are defined by the fountains and water channels. So option B also is the correct answer. Winding road and untrimmed vegetation obviously is not a feature of Mughal gardens. You don't have organic winding roads in the Mughal gardens. Everything is geometric layout with straight lines. Vista with terminal building is also a feature which you generally see in Mughal gardens. Taj Mahal or Humayun's tomb. You see a vista with a terminal building when you look at the Mughal garden. So A, B, and D are the correct answers in this particular question. Moving on to the next one, question number 44. Again, a 2 marks multiple select question based on air pollution, environmental planning, environment portion of the common part. As per CPCB, Central Pollution Control Board's National Air Quality Index of India 2014, which of the following statements is or are true? You need to know what is air quality index and how is it measured. From the given options, let us go through one by one. Air quality index is computed considering 8 hourly value of carbon monoxide. If you remember, if you have attended our classes, we did discuss that air quality index is, I have clearly mentioned that in the class, and you have to look into the details of air quality index, and it came into the paper also. In fact, even in our mock test, there was the question on air quality index and parameters included in it. There are a lot of questions which are a form of overlap with our mock test, most questions. Anyways, let us look into this. Air quality index is computed considering 8 hourly values of carbon monoxide. That is a true statement. Air quality index is computed considering 2 hourly value of PM 2.5. Absolutely no. It is 24 hourly values of 2.5 PM 2.5 that is used. So 2 is incorrect. So this is not a correct statement. Air quality index considers ozone concentration. Absolutely correct. Air quality index considers Carbon dioxide concentrations, no, carbon dioxide is not considered in air quality index. A and C are the correct answers from the given options. That is question number 44, 2 marks. So with that, we are done with the multiple select questions. Moving on to the numerical questions of the common part. They're pretty much simple numericals this year. The decadal population data of the city are given in the table below. Domestic water consumption of the city is estimated to be 175 liters per capita per day in the year 2041. Considering 2000 level population as the base year, so this is the base year, and arithmetic growth method of population forecasting, using arithmetic growth method of population forecasting, the daily domestic water demand of the city in the year 2041 in million liters per day will be dash. Firstly, we need to project the population for the year 2041. So in arithmetic population forecasting method, arithmetic growth method of population forecasting, first find out the average growth of population each year. Then you use in arithmetic growth method, the amount of population growth each decade will be constant. So you need to find out the average growth of population per decade. Average growth of population per decade. That is to be calculated first. So what is the growth of population between 1981 to 1991? The difference in these populations, you can use your calculators and check. 15,100, that's the difference of population here. Growth of population from 91 to 2001, this comes out to be 19,450. You can use your calculators and cross check. The decadal growth rate between 2000 to 2011, that is 30,150. What is the average growth? Add this, add these three things, divide by 3. This will give you the average growth, decadal growth of the population. Now, once you get this average growth of the population, we are forecasting the population for 2041. So 2041 is basically 3 decades after. So to find out the population growth by 2021, multiply this by 3 because we are forecasting a population for 3 decades later. So the growth of population from 2011 to 2041, it is simply this. Divide by 3, this 3 and 3 gets cancelled. So basically this portion 1500 plus 1940, 19450 plus 3150. I think this should come around 64,700. That's the population growth from 2011 to 2041. So the population of 2041 will be equal to 245450, that's the base year population, plus 64,700. Add these, you will get the population of the year 2041, that should be 310150. That's the population for the year 2041. Water requirement for the year 2041 will basically be equal to the population 310150 multiplied by 175 liters per capita per day. That's the water demand for the year 2041 in liters. They're asking us the answer in million liters. Million is nothing but divide this by 10 to the power of 6. Right? That will give you the answer in million liters. And use your calculators to simplify this. 310150 into 175, divide that by 10 to the power of 6. You should get your answer for this question as 54.2763. Round off to 2 decimal places, your answer will be 54.28. The answer is 54.28 million liters. That's the correct answer for this question. Forecast the population. You all know arithmetic growth of population forecasting is the simplest of all the methods actually. So find that, multiply it by 3 because for 3 decades, and then find out the total population of 2041, multiply it with 175 liters per capita per day divided by 10 to the power of 6. That will give your answer for this question number 45. Next one, the activity duration, early start, early finish, late start and late finish in weeks for activities P, Q, R and S are shown in the following figure. The interfering float of activity R in weeks is dash. We need to find out the interfering float. Interfering float is calculated as interfering float of R is total float of R minus free float of R. Total float minus free float is called as interfering float. What is total float of R? Just subtract 24 minus 12. This minus this. 24 minus 12 will give you 12. That is total float of R. Coming to free float. Free float is basically the next subsequent activity. Successor activity will start at its early start and the present activity will finish at its late finish. That's how you can calculate free float. So 21 minus 50. That will give you 6 weeks. 12 minus 6, that is 6 weeks. That's the answer for interfering float. Sorry, total float minus free float. That is 6 weeks. Uh, Pretty much simple, direct question. Next one. A 230 mm thick brick wall of 10-meter length and 3-meter height is built using Flemish bond. Size of the brick used is given as 230 by 112.5 by 70 mm. Using mortar thickness of 5 mm, the number of bricks required is dash. So it's mentioned as Flemish bond. So you need to first find out the number of bricks in one course. So in each course, Flemish bond will have alternating headers and stretches like this. So by using 3 bricks, what is the length achieved here? You need to add mortar thickness, half mortar thickness to the left, half mortar thickness to the right. So you need to add 1 mortar thickness to each and every length. So add 5 mm, you'll get this as 117.5. I'm adding half mortar thickness to the left and right each. And this length will become 235. This will become 235 mm. So by using 3 bricks, how much length did we achieve? 117.5 plus 235. So that should give you 300 and something. You can use your calculators and cross check. 235. 352.5 mm for every 3 bricks. Now, what is the total length of the wall which we are constructing? 10-meter length. 10 meters is basically 10,000 millimeters. How many bricks are required? So this number of bricks, x, what is x here? Number of bricks in each course. Number of bricks in each course. They're asking us an answer in integer, so we will use, there's some rounding off involved here. Don't worry if we are rounding off slightly. Number of bricks in each course will be equal to, this x will be equal to this into this divide by 352.5, so it will be 10,000 multiplied by 3 divided by 352.5. And use your calculators and check the value what you're getting. 30,000 divided by 352.5. You'll get this approximately as 85.1. So I'm neglecting that 0.1 considering that mortar, it is included in the mortar part. So approximately 85 bricks. I told you there is rounding off involved. We want an answer in integer, so I'm rounding it off. Instead of 85.1, I'm taking 85. 85 bricks. That's the number of bricks in each course. Now, how many courses are required? The height of the wall is 3 meters. Number of courses in the masonry will be equal to 700 mm is the thickness of one course, including the mortar thickness. It will become 75 mm. 75 mm is the effective height of each course, including the mortar thickness. Height of each course will be 75 mm. Number of courses will be total height divided by height of each course. Total height in mm will be 3000. 3 meters is the total height. Divide by 75. You get the number of courses. This is 40. So if there are 40 layers, 85 bricks in each layer, total number of bricks will be, number of bricks will be 85 bricks in each course, and there are 40 such courses. 85 into 40, you should get your answer, I think, as 85 into 4, 340, right? So 3400 is the correct answer for this. That's the number of bricks required for a given bond with Flemish bond. That's how you solve this question. When it is clearly mentioned about mortar thickness and the type of bond and all, it is always advisable that you do this method, find out the number of bricks in each course and then find out the number of courses and then find out the total number of bricks using it. That's question number 47. Coming to the next one, question number 48. Again, 2 marks numerical from the common path. This is based on estimation again. The reflected, now you see, ideally details of Flemish bond and all, it comes under building construction. Building construction is a topic written in the architecture part, but you do have question on it. So in the common part. So even basics of building construction, even it is only written as estimation in the common part, you get such questions. So you need to be a bit flexible with respect to the boundaries. You cannot draw a clear-cut boundary that no, I will not study about brick masonry. You cannot answer such questions in the common part then. So accordingly, you should be prepared even for your future. The reflected ceiling plan and section of RCC slab or RCC roof are shown in the diagram below, figure below. All the beams are 300 mm wide, 600 mm deep, including 150 mm slab, equidistantly placed center to center. Assuming 1% of concrete volume is occupied by reinforcement bars, volume of concrete is dash. First, let us find out the total volume of RCC. Simplest method here, total volume of RCC is find out the total volume of slab till the bottom of the beam thickness and then subtract these depressions. How is the slab basically? It is a slab with beams. Find out the total volume till the beam thickness, subtract these depressions, these volumes you can subtract, right? So that's the approach which we will be following first. But in order to do that, you need to know the volume of this depression. So first let me try to find out the dimensions of this depression. Thickness is known, it is 450 because the slab thickness is 150, total beam thickness is 600. So the depression portion, this one, is 450 mm deep. Why? Because 150 mm is the thickness of the slab, beam is 600 from here. So the depth, the portion of depression, the depth of that depression portion will be 450 mm deep. Finding out the length and breadth of it, these dimensions, let us find the internal dimension of this depression. Both will be same, it is square. Let us try to find that out. So if you see, the total length of the slab is 10,000 mm, or you can do it in meters itself, 10 meters minus, if you subtract the beam thickness, this is 300, 300 mm, 300 mm, 300, 4 times. 300 mm 4 times is 1.2 meters. 8.8 meters is the total length of the depression. This basically, what is 8.8? The inner dimension. This inner dimension plus this inner dimension plus this inner dimension. So the dimension of the depression, this dimension, length and breadth of the depression, this part, and also this part, both will be same, and that basically will be 8.8 upon 3, right? So this dimension is 8.8 meter divided by 3. Divide the 8.8 part into 3 equal portions. This also is 8.8 upon 3 in meters. Let us now find out the total volume of RCC slab. Total volume of the slab till the bottom of beam thickness. I'm doing everything in meters itself. What do we want an answer in? Cubic meters. So let us do everything in meters itself. Total volume of RCC basically will be 10 meter by 10 meter by 0.6 meter. So this basically will be 60 cubic meters. That's the total volume of RCC. Second step, total volume of depression. Acha, this is total volume of slab, right? Let me write it as total volume including the depressions. That is 60 cubic meters. Now, volume of depressions, I'm naming these cavities, these coffers part. You imagine those as coffers, I'm naming those as depressions. So volume of each depression, so total volume of depression will be, there are 9 depressions, multiplied by volume of each depression is 8.8 by 3 into 8.8 by 3 into 450 mm deep. So in meters it will be 0.45. So that's the volume of the depression. You can use your calculators to find out how much it comes out to be. 8.8 divided by 3 is 2.933. Square it, multiply it with 0.45 and multiply it with 9. You should get this as 34.848 cubic meters. I'm rounding it to 3 decimal places. So that's the volume of the depression, total volume of the depression. Let me write this as total volume of depression. Now, volume of RCC plus beam also. RCC slabs plus beam, the total volume will be, subtract the two quantities. So it would be 60 minus 34.848. So this should be 25.152 cubic meters. That's the total volume of the RCC slab. Finally, last step, you need to subtract 1% from it because 1% is reinforcement bars. So volume of concrete is equal to only 99%, so 0.99 into 25.152. I'm calculating 99% of RCC volume, 99% of the volume of the RCC slab because 1% of the RCC slab is reinforcement. So multiply your answer with 0.99. You should get your final answer as 24.9. So that's the correct answer for this. 2 marks numerical from GATE 2022 in the common part. So it's just a bit lengthy, but if you do it by visualizing it properly, it will hardly take you 2 or 3 minutes. Last question from the common part, the numerical. Following graph represents the income distribution among the population of a country. The Gini coefficient of the country is dash. Gini coefficient is a number which is used to define or measure the income distribution, income inequality in the country. So if the gap between the income line and the equality line increases, the inequality will basically increase. Gini coefficient is basically the area between these two lines, expressed as a percentage of the total area under the perfect equality. So this difference between the equality line and the income line, say if that area is B, or let us say that area is X, this shaded portion, area between the equality line and the perfect income distribution, expressed as a percentage, or you're they're asking us coefficient, so directly need not find out the percentage of it, but this one as a decimal fraction with respect to perfect equality. So perfect equality, say the total area under perfect equality, this total area under perfect equality is y. So x upon y is called as Gini coefficient. So let us try to do it. Don't worry, I'll explain the detailed step. Firstly, to find out the area between the equality line and the income line, let me say, let us say that area as B and the total area between the perfect equality line as A. Total area under perfect equality line. How much is the total area under perfect equality line? It is basically, let me say I'm denoting it by A. It is basically a triangle, half into base into height, half into base is 100, height is also 100 units. So this basically will give you 5000. That's the total area under the perfect equality line. Now let us find out the area between the perfect equality and income line. Area between perfect equality and income distribution. Let us say this area as B. How do you calculate this area? Total area of the triangle minus the area between the income line. So this basically will be 5000 minus area below income line. Let us find out the area below the income line now. That's where the calculation lies, or that's where the complexity of the question lies. So let us say this portion is 1, the triangle. This is a rectangle, this is portion 2. Say this triangle is portion 3. You can apply the formula for area of trapezium also, half h into a plus b, up to you. Or you can do it by using rectangles and triangles as well. Say this is portion 4 rectangle, portion 5 a right angle triangle again. I'll add all these 5 portions, 1 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5 to get area below the income line. I'll then subtract it from 5000 and I'll get the answer for this. Let us try to do that. Anyways, area between the perfect equality and the income line, this basically will be equal to 5000 minus area below the income line. First portion, it is a triangle, half into base is 30 units, height is 18 units, half into base into height plus. Second is a rectangle, so that is directly 70 minus 30. Total length is 70 minus 30, starting from 70, 30, ending till 70. So that is 40. 40 multiplied by 18, that is second part. This is 1, this is 2. Third portion, again a rectangle triangle, that will be half into base, again is 40 into height is 18 minus 45, so that will be 27. That's the third portion. Fourth portion again is a rectangle, 30 by 45, that's the fourth portion. And finally fifth portion is again a right angle triangle. It is half into base, again is 30 into height is 55. So add all these 5 parts, you will get the total area below the income line. Subtract that from 5000, you will get the portion B, the shaded part between the perfect equality and income line. So do this calculation. Let me do it quickly. 30 into 18 divided by 2. Let me write the values if you want. So this portion I'm getting the calculation as 270. This portion 40 into 18 is 720. This portion 40 into 27 by 2 is 540. This portion 45 into 30 is 1350. This portion is 55 into 30 by 2. It is 825. So the total area below the income distribution line is 825 plus 1350 plus 540 plus 720 plus 270. 3705. So this will be 5000 minus 3705. So this should give you 1295 as the answer. Now I told you if this is B, what is Gini coefficient? I told you area between perfect equality line and income line, that is B, divided by total area below the perfect equality line, that is A. So this basically will be 1295, not 59, 1295 divided by total area between below the perfect equality line is 5000. So this divided by 5000 should give your answer as 0.259. Rounded off to 3 decimal places, so 0.259 is the exact answer for the Gini coefficient of this particular country. So it's simple. From the graph, find out the area between the perfect equality line and the income line. That expressed as a fraction of the area below the perfect equality. Now, when there is perfect equality and there is no gap between the income line and a perfect equality line, then the Gini coefficient will be 0 for that country. 0 Gini coefficient is perfect equality, no income inequality at all. So income inequality divided by the perfect equality area, so that is Gini coefficient. 0.259 is the answer for this question. So that was the common part. Now Let us move on to the architecture part as well. You will find the explanation for the planning part, that is part B2, in a separate video. But let us do these last 16 questions, that is part B1, architecture part, I'll be discussing. So let us look into question number 50. 1 mark questions first. Which of the following process is used for surface treatment of metals? From the options, obviously thermoplating is done for metals, surface treatment of metals, riveting is used, soldering is used for joining metals, right? Extrusion is used for molding metals. Thermoplating is used for surface treatment of metals. B is the correct answer. Pretty simple questions. Now, from a general observation from most of the students, the feedback was relatively the part B part was simple. Part B, architecture and also planning, both were simple. That's the general feedback from most of the students. Common part was relatively unexpected. That's what many students are giving us a feedback for this exam. Anyways, next one. This is from History of Architecture. You ask for 1 mark. An MCQ question, so there will be negative marking. Among the following monuments of ancient Greece, the only octastyle peripteral temple with 8 towering Doric columns lining both east and west facades is dash. The answer for this is Parthenon. Parthenon is a octastyle peripteral temple with 8 Doric columns on the east and west. On the east side you have 8 Doric columns, west also you have 8 Doric columns, and it is an octastyle peripteral. What is the meaning of octastyle? 8 columns in the facade. So if you look into the plan of Parthenon, there will be 8 columns in the front facade. That is octastyle. The west side also you have 8 columns. On the sides, you'll be so 8 Doric columns in the front and back. On the sides also you'll be having columns. So it is peripteral. Peripteral temple is something where you have classical order columns along the periphery on all the 4 sides. So Parthenon is a octastyle peripteral temple. We do discuss that naming also in the history of architecture classes. So that's 51. 52. An ultrasonic pulse velocity test was done on a hardened concrete element. USPV test, actually ultrasonic pulse velocity test, is a non-destructive test. There are lots of non-destructive tests in estimating the strength of concrete, like rebound hammer test and all. This also, ultrasonic pulse velocity also is a test where you use the sound or ultrasonic waves passing through the concrete as a means to find out the grade of it. So let us see. The distance between the transducer and the receiver is 600 mm. The time taken by the induced wave to travel the distance is 0.18 milliseconds. Based on the table, concrete quality grading is dash. Ranges are given for the velocities. First, we need to find out the velocity here. Velocity of the pulse, ultrasonic pulse, distance traveled per unit time. So it is 600 mm divided by 0.18 millisecond. But we don't want it in mm per millisecond. We want an answer in kilometer per second. So to convert this into kilometer per second, 600 mm want to convert into kilometers, you need to divide it by 1000 into 1000, right? Because 1 meter is 1000 mm. So first convert into meters. 600 divided by 1000 will give you 0.6 meters. Convert that 0.6 meters into kilometers. Divide again by 1000. So 600 by 1000 into 1000 is the distance, 0.0006. That is the length in kilometers. Now coming to time, 0.18 milliseconds. Milli is 10 to the power of minus 3. So basically, if you convert this millisecond into second into 10 power minus 3, so you can write 10 power 3 in the numerator. 0.18 millisecond. 0.18 divided by 1000. So that goes to the numerator. 1000 and 1000 gets cancelled. Zeros gets cancelled here. You will get this as 0.6 upon 0.18. You can use your calculators to find out this fraction. 0.6 upon 0.18. 3.33. Just check this 3.33 kilometer per second speed falls under which quality? 3.33 falls under doubtful quality. So the answer is doubtful for this particular question. That is asked for 1 mark. Right? This is 1 mark question. Till 56 it is 1 mark question. Next 53. This one is a multiple select question. It is not mentioned in this master sheet, but It is mentioned in the question paper. It will be mentioned which one is multiple select, which one is multiple choice. This is multiple select question. Which of the following is or are examples of tomb architecture in ancient Egypt? Very simple question. Asked for only 1 mark. Step pyramid of Zoser and Saqqara. That's obviously tomb structure. Mastabas are also tomb structures. Remaining two are the temples here. So A and D are the correct answers for the tomb architecture of ancient Egypt. Next one. If aluminum refers to anodizing, glazing refers to, or if the what is the relation between aluminum and anodizing? Aluminum surface can be anodized. Glazing surface, what can be done to it? You have to select the options. So hard coating and tempering are the correct answers. You can subject glazing to hard coating and also subject it to the process of tempering. Tempered glass कहते हैं. So A and C are the correct answers here. 55. Black body radiant heating panel of 5 square meters of surface at 35 degrees centigrade surface temperature is located 1 meter away from 1 square meter surface at 20 degrees centigrade. Stephen Boltzmann constant is given as 5.6703 into 10 to the power of minus 8 watt per square meter per Kelvin to the power of 4. The rate of radiant heat transmission by radiant heating panel is dash. In each paper you at least get one such out of context question, probably not directly related to the field of architecture, but then there is some indirect link obviously, because radiant heat transfer also happens in buildings when solar radiation falls onto the surfaces. However, the radiant heat emission from the radiant heating panel is the large panel. So here the rate of radiant heat transfer joules per unit time, that is measured in watts. Q upon T, rate of heat transfer per unit time, rate of heat transfer basically Q upon T is calculated as Stephen Boltzmann's constant multiplied by, if I say I'm to present, let me not use K because K is already used for representation of Kelvin here. So Stephen Boltzmann constant, let me say represented by sigma, multiplied by the coefficient of the surface. So this is a black body it is given, right? So black body is something which is 100% effective heat producer, right? So here the surface will have a coefficient of 1 for black body. You can remember this coefficient will be 1 for black surfaces, black body. So E is 1, however, you can skip that. So the formula for rate of heat transfer is sigma into, you can look into the units actually. If you don't know the concept, you can look into the units to get an understanding here. So Stephen Boltzmann constant is watt per square meter, Kelvin to the power of 4, right? So sigma into area of the surface multiplied by temperature raised to the power of 4. Kelvin to the power of 4. You have to take the temperature in Kelvin again here. So let us do this. You will get this as 5.6703 multiplied by area is 5 square meters. Temperature is 35 degrees centigrade. Converted into Kelvin, 35 plus 273. I think this will be 308 Kelvin. So multiplied by 308 raised to the power of 4. That's what we will do. There is this also here, 10 to the power of minus 8. Do not forget that. So I missed it with the coefficients. 5.67 5.6703 into 10 to the power minus 8 into 5 square meter into 308 Kelvin raised to the power 4. Simplify this and you should get your answer. I think the answer comes out to be 2551, something like that. I checked and this was the answer which I got. You can use your calculators to cross check. So that's the solution for this question. Stephen Boltzmann constant into area of the radiating surface into temperature raised to the power 4. If it is not a perfect 100% emitter of heat, then you need to take the fraction also. But for black bodies, it is 1. So you can neglect that factor here. Next one. So that's a numerical asked for 1 mark, I guess, right? So 1 mark numerical. Till 56, it is 1 mark. So last question, last one. So that's a 1 mark numerical. Last 1 mark numerical here. A hypothetical trust comprising of weightless members is shown in the following figure. Assuming tension to be positive, compression to be negative, value of force in member Tu is dash. Tu, if you see, I hope you all know the two rules for zero force members. First rule for identifying zero force members is at a joint if there are two members joining, and at the joint if there is no external force or reaction acting, both the members will be zero force members. If there are two members joining at the joint, no external force acting at the joint, both the members will be zero force members. That's one rule. Second rule, if there are three members joining at a joint of which two are collinear, two are forming a straight line and the third is non-collinear, and there is no external loading acting at the joint, the non-collinear member is a zero force member. The second rule applies here. Three members are joining at a joint, no external force or reaction is acting at the joint T, so this directly will be a zero force member. The answer is directly 0 for question number 56. So these are the 1 mark questions of the architecture part. Moving to the 2 mark questions of the architecture part. So there are 8 questions, I think, in the 2 marks. Of these 8 questions, there are few multiple choice questions, few multiple select questions, and few numerical questions also. Let us try to do all those 3 types of questions here. Um, Match the illustrations of arch types. Actually, this is a printing mistake in the official question paper itself. After question number 56, you should get 57, right? This is question number 57 to 65. Question number 57, this is. So, question number 57. Match the illustrations of arch types with the corresponding names. P is a multifoil arch, so this is a Moorish multifoil arch. Q is a Venetian arch. R is an Ogi arch, and S is a shouldered arch. 3125 is the correct answer. 3125 is option B. Pretty simple question where the diagrams are given and you need to identify the type of arch. Next one, match the architectural projects with the corresponding architects in group 2. IIM Bangalore was obviously a very famous one, everyone knows. IIM Bangalore was designed by Bibi Doshi. Osho International Meditation Resort was designed by Hafiz contractor. B nahi hai. Bibi Doshi is 4. Osho International Meditation Resort was designed by Hafiz contractor. 5. Nalanda International School Vadodara was designed by Brinda Soumya. Maitre Mandir Auroville was designed by Roger Anger. 4523 is the correct answer. Option A. You see, the multiple choice questions of architecture or in general architecture part was relatively easy, except for probably this one, Stephen Wolfman constant, completely new concept, never asked in gate exam. Other than that, remaining questions are pretty simple in the architecture part. I don't think if you have attempted the architecture part, you would have faced any sort of difficulty in answering the remaining questions. Match the structural joining systems in group 1 with the corresponding materials for which they are commonly used. Welding obviously is used in steel. Spider connector is used in glazing. You see your spider glazing, which is a construction technique used for external curtain walls. Mortise and tenon joint is generally used in timber, and mortar is generally used for joining brick. 4153 is the correct answer. Option D is the correct answer for this 2 mark multiple choice question from the architecture part. 5 more questions. 6 more questions. Um, Match the instruments with the corresponding climate parameters from group 2. Pyranometer is an instrument which is used to measure solarity. Most of the points, not most, all these points, all these instruments are asked, have been asked already in GATE exam. So everything is a repetition here. Pyranometer, solar radiation. Disdrometer is an instrument which is used to analyze the properties of precipitation, snowfall, rainfall, the drop sizes of rainfall, the velocity with which drops are falling. All these are measured using these laser scanner equipment, which is disdrometer. Hygrometer is an instrument used to measure humidity, relative humidity. Anemometer is used to find out the wind velocity. So 3512 is the correct answer. So option A is the appropriate option from the given options. So that's multiple choice questions. Coming to multiple select questions from here. This is a multiple select question. Multiple options can be correct. In traditional Indian temple architecture, Which of the following statements is or are true? First option, Jagmohan refers to dancing hall is incorrect. Jagmohan is a hall in Odisha in Kalinga style of temple architecture, where Jagmohan refers to assembly hall, not dancing hall. Dancing hall is referred to as Nat Mandir, right? So that's an incorrect option. Gopuram refers to an entrance tower, absolutely correct, feature of Dravidian temple architecture. Chachala refers to roof composed of four triangular segments, absolutely correct, seen in Bengali temple architecture. You see these triangular segments, something like this. Generally, this Charchala design of temple architecture in Bengal, it was derived from the Bengali hut design, right? This layout of Bengali temple is known as Charchala. That's correct. Vimana refers to the structure of a Garbhagriha, absolutely correct in Dravidian architecture. So there was a slight glitch, I think. We were discussing question number 61 and we discussed Jagmohan is an assembly hall, so this is an incorrect option. Gopuram is an entrance tower, a correct option in Dravidian temple architecture. The entrance towers are called as Gopuram. Charchala in Bengali temple architecture is a roof composed of four triangular segments. We just discussed that. Bengali hut design. And finally, Vimana refers to the structure over the Garbhagriha. That's also a correct statement. Again, in Dravidian temple architecture, the pyramidal tower structure, which you see on top of the Garbhagriha, square in plan, that's Vimana. So B, C, and D are the correct answers for this question number 61. Moving on to question number 62, which of the following factors impact daylight autonomy of a built space? What is daylight autonomy first? Daylight autonomy is basically the percentage of daytime which you're able to meet the requirement using daylight. For example, say in this room I require 300 lux of illumination. This 300 lux of illumination using natural light coming from the windows and all, what percentage of the time I'm able to meet that naturally? So that's called as daylight autonomy. So if you increase the windows, you'll get natural, or you can meet the natural, you can meet the illumination demand naturally for a longer time. So it depends on fenestration size, window area, depends on orientation of the building. If you're providing openings in such a manner that natural light can enter into your space for a larger duration of time, daylight autonomy of the space will increase. Daylight autonomy is basically depending only on daylight for your lighting demands. What percentage of time you're able to do it, that's called as daylight autonomy. Latitude and longitude also play a role, because based on latitude the sun path will change. That will also have a role in the daylighting of the space. Glare, however, is not a factor which directly impacts daylight autonomy. Glare, what is glare? Basically, it is relative brightness. So if you're having a black wall and say there is a very bright window opening in between it or within the wall, so it creates contrast. So that contrast in brightness, that's called as glare. Glare, however, is not a direct factor which affects daylight autonomy. However, let me tell you, glare indirectly does have an impact on daylight autonomy, because daylighting of a space depends on three components: sky component, internally reflected component, and externally reflected component. Now, if say you're having dark walls, that will cause glare in the space, and also that will reduce the internally reflected component. So there's an indirect link. So the wall finishes will define internally reflected component and also glare. So in that way, indirect link can be created. You can say indirectly glare will probably influence daylight autonomy, but major factors of it are only A, C, and D. B is not a major factor governing daylight autonomy. So let us probably the official will wait and see what the official answer key will give us the answer as. It probably would be A, C, D, but then B could be an indirect factor as well. Next question. This one is now moving on to the numerical part of the architecture. So a beam is shown in the figure. Assuming a sagging moment as positive, hogging moment as negative, bending moment at section XX will be dash. Right? They are saying sagging moments. So if bending is happening as a sagging moment, this is clockwise, this is anti-clockwise to the left of the section. Since this is called as sagging moment. Sagging moments are taken as positive. So to the left of the section, clockwise moments are taken as positive. That's given in the question. This is a general convention we also follow in our lectures of structures. We do follow the same sign convention. Hogging moments, anti-clockwise moment to the left of the section, that is taken as negative, hogging moments. So the sign convention is mentioned in the question. However, let us first want to find out bending moment at section XX. We need to find out the bending moment at this particular section. To find out bending moment at this particular section, we need to first find out the unknown reactions. Let me mark these for ease of calculation. Let me mark these points as A, B, and C. They randomly gave some Y, Z, and W. Let me use the A, W, A, B, and C. Easier for calculation. Let us say this is RA, reaction at support A. This is reaction at support B. Let us try to find out the unknown reactions. First equation. Reaction at A plus reaction at B should be equal to 120 kilonewtons in the downward force, this one, plus the UDL. UDL is distributed 20 kilonewton per meter is distributed over a span of 4 meters. So this will be 120 plus 80, 200 kilonewtons. So RA plus RB is equal to 200. That is first equation, first equilibrium equation. Second equation, summation of moments. Let me take point A. Summation of all the moments at point A. Let me take that as 0. Due to RA, there will be no moment because the force is already acting at the same point. Uh, let me consider the UDL as a point load acting at the centroid. The total UDL is 80. Centroid of the UDL span is Centroid of the UDL span is over here, right? So that is taken as 2 meter distance from section A. We are taking moment about point A. So it is 80 into 2. Section A is here. Centroid at the centroid of the UDL, I'm considering 80 kilonewtons. I'm converting the UDL into point load basically. This is creating a clockwise moment. Clockwise moments are taken as positive. So this is plus. Next one, RB into distance force. Next force is RB. Distance of RB from point A is 4 meters. RB into 4. And this is an anti-clockwise moment because point A is here. RB is acting in the upward direction. It's an anti-clockwise moment. Anti-clockwise moments are taken as negative. So this will be minus here. And then the third force is 120. I'm erasing this so that I can write over here. This is RA. This is RB. Next force is 120. The downward force. So it is creating. This is point A. Downward force is acting over here. So it's creating a clockwise moment. This will be taken as positive. 120 into 5. This should be equal to 0. Let me simplify this equilibrium equation. 160 minus 4 into RB plus this will be 600 is equal to 0. So I'll get 4 into RB is equal to 760 kilonewton meter, right? So I'll get RB is equal to 760 upon 4, 190, I think that is 190 kilonewtons. That's the value of RB. Substitute that into this equation, I'll get RA is equal to 10 kilonewton. So I have calculated reaction at support A, reaction at support B. Values are 10 kilonewtons and 190 kilonewton. These are the values for the reaction at support A and support B. Now finding out the bending moment at section X. Bending moment at any given section is taken as the summation of all the moments to the left of the section or to the right of the section. Let me do the calculation from left of the section. So say this is point A, this is left of the section, this is section XX. There is one force 10 kilonewton acting at support. The remaining UDL also is over here. If I convert this UDL portion into a point load, so the total span is 2 meters. I can convert this UDL into a point load of 20 into 2, 40 kilonewtons. 20 kilonewton per meter acting over a 2 meter span. So that will be 40 kilonewtons. So 40 kilonewton will be acting at the centroid. Centroid is basically 1 meter from the section X. Only two loads, 40 kilonewton load, 10 kilonewton. What is 40 kilonewton load? It is the UDL value basically. Summation of all the moments at section X will be equal to bending moment of X is equal to summation of all the moments to the left of the section. So 10 multiplied by the distance 2. So section X is here. 10 is acting from the downward direction, so this is creating a clockwise moment. This clockwise moment to the left of the section is always taken as positive. You can see here, clockwise moment to the left of the section is taken as positive because it's a sagging moment. Next one, 40 kilonewtons. Distance of that 40 kilonewton from section X. 40 kilonewton is acting here. Distance is 1 meter. 40 into 1, and it is creating an anti-clockwise moment. Anti-clockwise moment to the left of the section is taken as a hogging moment, that is negative. So minus over here. This will be 20 minus 40 minus 20 kilonewton meter. So what is bending moment of X at X? It is a hogging moment of 20 kilonewtons. So hogging moment is taken as negative. So minus 20 is the answer. They want an answer in kilonewton meters. So minus 20 will be your answer. If you see the statement, you have to read the given statement very carefully. The bending moment at section X is minus 20. If they give you in the question the negative bending moment at section X will be dash. If they say the negative bending moment at section X is dash, then you'll give your answer as 20. Right? Here they just said the bending moment, so minus 20 is the answer for this question. There was a provision. There will be a provision in the question in the NAT type question to type in minus also. So your answer is minus 20 for this question. Two more questions. last the last two questions. Absorption coefficient of wall panel in each octave band is tabulated below. Noise reduction coefficient is being asked. Noise reduction coefficient is calculated as average absorption coefficient measured at four different frequencies: 250, 500, 1000 and 2000. Absorption coefficient measured at 250 Hz frequency plus absorption coefficient measured at 500 Hz frequency plus absorption coefficient measured at 1000 Hz frequency plus absorption coefficient measured at 2000 Hz frequency. Average of these four values is called as noise reduction coefficients. We do discuss this in the class of acoustics. Average absorption coefficient measured at four different frequencies: 250, 500, 1000 and 2000. That's called as noise reduction coefficient. Just take an average of these absorption coefficients. That's it. 0.5 plus 0.5 plus 0.7 plus 0.8 divide by 4. Using your calculators, you can simplify this. I think you should get your answer as 0.625. That's the correct answer for question number 64. 2 marks numerical, GATE 2022. Last question. A room is maintained at a wet bulb temperature of 25 degrees centigrade, globe temperature of 30. So wet bulb temperature is given as 25 degrees centigrade, globe temperature is given as 30 degrees centigrade, velocity is given as 0.5 meter per second. The decrease in tropical summer index when the air velocity is increased to, so initially air velocity was 0.5. Next, air velocity later became 3 meter per second. It is increased to, not increased by. If they say increased by, your answer will, your V2 will become 3.5. Here it is 3 meter per second. V2 is 3 meter per second. They're asking us what is the decrease in tropical summer index. The difference between initial tropical summer index and second case tropic. There are two cases. Initially velocity was 0.5. Later velocity became 3. Because of this change in velocity, they're asking us what is the change in tropical summer index. As simple as that. To answer this, you should know the formula for tropical summer index. Tropical summer index measured in degrees centigrade. The formula is given in NBC 2016 volume 2 part 8 under the climatology part. Tropical summer index is calculated as 0.745 into 0.745 into globe temperature plus 0.308 into wet bulb temperature minus 2.08 into under root, I think it is 2.06 not 08, under root B plus 0.841. I know it's a bit difficult to remember the equation, but yeah, question was asked on this formula directly. However, if you see here, what is changing from case 1 to case 2? Only velocity. There is no change in the wet bulb and globe temperature. So actually these values are unnecessary. Additional information. You need not substitute the values. Obviously you can find out this tropical summer index. It will become unnecessarily lengthy. You can just assume this part to be a constant k. Let me assume that as constant k. What will be the tropical summer index in case 1? Because it is not changing, I'm assuming it is a constant. Constant K minus 2.06 multiplied by under root 0.5 plus 0.841, you will get 1.341. Tropical summer index in case 2 will be K minus 2.06 multiplied by 3 plus 0.841, so it will be 3.841. That's it. What is the change in tropical summer index? Tropical summer index in case 1 minus tropical summer index in case 2. That will be K minus 2.06 into under root 1.341, that is TS1, minus TS2 is K minus 2.06 multiplied by under root 3.841. You can simplify this, you will get your values as K minus, you can use your calculators, 2.06, you can use your calculators to find out this value. Just a second. Hmm. 2.06 multiplied by square root of 1.341. This value is 2.3855 minus K minus 2.06 into 2.06 multiplied by square root of 3.841 is this 4.0373. So this will be K minus 2.3855 minus K plus 4.0373. K and minus K gets cancelled. 4.0373 minus 2.3855. You'll get your answer as 1.6581 degrees centigrade. That's the change in tropical summer. So if velocity is changing from 0.5 to 3, because of this, the tropical summer index will decrease by 1.65 degrees centigrade, rounded off to 2 decimal places. 1.65 is the correct answer for this last question. So that's an explanation of the common part and the architecture part. If you want to look into the details of the explanation for the planning part, that is part B2 as well, you can find another video within on the same YouTube channel. Check those explanations on that video. And if you want your approximate rank, so you can find the answer key for this question paper is obviously available during the course of this video. It is also available in the as a link in this description below, for the description of this video below. There's a link for rank predictor also. You can check your score, put in your score whatever you're getting. After checking it, put your score onto the rank predictor. You will get a response from us with respect to a predicted approximate range of your rank for your particular score. Hope the video was useful to you. Thank you for watching, and we'll meet again later. Thank you.
In today's video, we are going to solve the B2 part of GATE Architecture and Planning of the year 2022. Now, there are many other question papers also that we have solved, and the videos are available on our YouTube channel. So go and check that out if you haven't already. Just in case this is the first video that you are watching, the first PYQ video you are watching on our YouTube channel, let me give you a brief introduction as to how the exam pattern is and what kind of questions are asked, the marking system, etc. So first of all, the entire exam paper is divided into 3 sections: Part A, Part B1 and Part B2. Part A is the common part which is like compulsory for all of you to solve. Part B1 focuses on architecture questions and B2 focuses on planning questions. Okay. Now A, everybody has to solve. It has questions from general aptitude and it has questions from architecture as well as planning. This is compulsory for you to solve. Amongst B1 and B2, you have to choose one. Okay, you can either go for architecture or you can go for planning. Now B2, that is we are going to, which is what we are going to cover in today's session, is going to be all planning questions. Okay, first of all. Second, what type of questions are asked? There are MCQ questions, that is multiple choice questions. You will be given 4 options and only one is correct out of those. Then there is MSQ type of questions. 4 options are going to be given to you and more than one answer can be correct. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Anything can be correct. However, it's been seen so far that either 2 or 3 questions or options are correct. Okay. Only one option is right or only 4, all the 4 options are right. That kind of a scenario has not been seen so far in GATE examination. So you can focus on either 2 or 3 options being correct of the question. Next, there is NAT type of question, that is numerical type of question. You are given no options and you have to type the correct value with the decimal or without the decimal, whatever has been given in the question. Along with that, you have to type the numerical value. Okay, so this is NAT type of question. MCQ kind of question has, negative marking. MSQ and NAT do not have negative marking, which is very good thing. Okay, now let's begin with B2 part of architecture and planning, which is only planning part. Now, first of all, irrespective of whether you're from architecture background or whether you're from a planning background, you have to study planning because many parts of planning comes in the common part as well, and there is a lot of overlap. Okay, so definitely you have to study planning. You cannot get rid of planning altogether if you are from architecture background, number one. Number two, many a times it has been seen that little easier questions have come from planning, or little easier questions have come in B2 than in B1, and vice versa has also been seen. So we always recommend that you cover the entire syllabus, and on the day of the examination you choose whether you have to go for B1 or B2. Okay, you can check the detailed syllabus, you can check our video where we talk about the detailed syllabus and understand what type of questions specifically come in B2. Okay, having said that, let's move on to the questions from this part. So first of all, questions 66 to 72 carry 1 mark each. So be it MCQ, be it MSQ, be it NAT type of question, they can be either 1 mark or they can be 2 marks. So that has been divided in the question paper. First we solve the 1 mark question, then we move on to the 2 mark questions. Okay, so the first one, question 66. Which of the following is the National Electronic Toll Collection System implemented by the National Payment Corporation of India? Okay, whether you studied planning, whether you studied architecture, irrespective of that, you must know that the answer is FASTag. All the other options are just given to confuse you. There are no such terms given by the National Payment Corporation of India. Okay, so option number D is correct. Next, the shaded area in the following demand supply graph is known as what? Okay, so this is the demand supply graph that you are able to see, and the shaded area over here, you have been asked what is it. So let me tell you, the answer is consumer surplus. But that's not it. You have to understand what the supply demand graph is. You have to understand what consumer surplus is, what producer surplus is, consumer deficit, producer deficit, everything. Okay, so whenever you solve any question paper on your own also, you have to make sure that you have a comprehensive understanding of that particular question. Okay, just knowing the correct answer and moving ahead is not going to be helpful for you if you're preparing for any examination. Okay, so let's understand this in depth. First of all, the demand supply graph. What is that? On the y-axis you have price, okay, and on the x-axis you have quantity. Now before we begin understanding this graph, one thing you have to understand, that demand is always from consumers point of view, from our point of view. Okay, so consumers POV, point of view, and whenever we are talking about supply, that is always going to be from the manufacturer's point of view, manufacturers or producers point of view. Okay, what does this mean? Now here we are talking about price and quantity only. So now imagine any scenario. Let's take COVID for example. Okay, initially when the supply of, let's say, sanitizers, the supply of masks was not much. Okay, let's assume that kind of a scenario. Now what was happening is the price of all these products was going high, and more people were interested in producing this. Correct? So for example, if initially 10 people were into manufacturing of sanitizers. Now more people were interested and the manufacturing increased, the manufacturers increased, the setup increased, the quantity produced also increased. So as I told you, supply is from manufacturer's point of view. If the price increases, initially in the COVID time, we realized that mask is very essential, sanitizers are very essential, but it was not used by mass during that time, but the requirement was there. So the price was high because the products were less initially, है ना? So the price was high, and with the increase of price, the quantity increased, the supply increased, the number of manufacturers and the quantity increased. Okay, so you have a line going upwards when it comes to supply. Okay, now demand is from consumers point of view. How? If let's say we are talking about a handbag, which is, for example, the price is 50,000, for example, not many people are going to come forward to buy it. Okay, the quantity produced will be less, the quantity purchased is going to be less. Now if let's say we are talking about a handbag of probably 1,000, okay, now the quantity produced is going to be more, the people ready to purchase it is going to be more, the the selling of this commodity is also going to be more. Okay, so we can say that as the price decreases from 50,000, 30,000 to probably 2,000 or 1,000, the quantity is going to increase. This is from a consumer's point of view, you have to understand. Okay, so you draw a line like this. This is for demand, this is for supply. Okay, now another thing that you have to understand is there is something called as equilibrium, where demand and supply is balanced out. That is called as equilibrium. And let's say this is your line of equilibrium, for example. Okay, now let's read what's given here first. Surplus and deficit on the graph. Okay, consumer surplus, area above the equilibrium price line and below the demand curve. What is the demand curve? This is the demand curve. If the price decreases of a commodity, then the quantity purchased, the quantity of that commodity being purchased is going to increase. This is demand curve from a consumer's POV. This is the supply curve from a manufacturer's point of view. As the price increases in the market, for example, mask price increased 100, 200, people are ready to pay anything for that, okay, because they have to keep themselves protected. So the price increase and the quantity being produced, this is from the producer's point of view, the quantity being produced is increasing with the price increase. Why? Because the manufacturers want to earn more profit. That is why supply curve may you see a line like this, and this is from the manufacturer's point of view. This is something that we've already understood. Now this is the line of equilibrium that we are talking about. Now consumer surplus is what? This shaded area above the equilibrium line and below the demand curve. This is the demand curve, below the demand curve and above the equilibrium line, or a triangle between the demand curve, the price line, that is the y-axis, and your equilibrium line. Okay, this is the consumer surplus. First identify this in the graph, then we'll understand what it is. Okay, then producer's surplus, the area below the equilibrium price line, so area below the equilibrium price line and above the supply curve, so this particular area. So the triangle formed between supply curve, equilibrium line and the y-axis, that is the price line. Okay, this part is producer surplus, this part is consumer surplus. Okay, now let us try to understand what is it and why is it happening so. For example, consumer surplus, let's say that I want red shoes, okay, so red sneakers for example, and I am willing to pay 1,000 rupees for that. But somehow I got it in 800 rupees. Okay, I was willing to pay 1,000, I got it in 800 rupees. So consumer surplus, matlab the surplus amount with the consumer, that is me, is 200 rupees. Okay, that is being denoted in this particular area, consumer surplus, the extra amount of money left with the consumer. Okay, similarly, sorry, When it comes to producer surplus, so what does producer surplus say is, a farmer was willing to sell wheat at 15 rupees per kg. Okay, it was like, I'll go to the market and I'll sell this in 15 rupees per kg, and that is good enough for me. But because of XYZ reasons, he sold it for 20 rupees per kg, which is a good thing. The producer has more money. That is more money is also surplus. Okay. So now 5 rupees per kg is surplus with the producer now. That is the producer surplus, and it's been given in this triangle. Okay, so I hope now you'll be able to identify these things on the graph, and you've understood what it is. Okay, next. Now identify the following traffic interchange. This is a question from traffic planning now. So this kind of interchange is called as what? So simple, just you have to give the name of it. Okay, the name is clover leaf. Okay, now how does it look like in actual scenario? It looks like this. Okay, and why the name clover? This is actual clover leaf, and based on this clover leaf, the name of this interchange has been given. Okay, now how does it work? First of all, this is a grade separated intersection. Grade separated intersection. What does grade mean? Level. Okay, so let's say हम ऐसा कह रहे हैं कि आप घर से निकले and आप straight move कर रहे हैं अपने घर से निकलने के बाद, and there was another road intersecting the road that you were moving on at 90 degree for example. तो एक ही लेवल पे दो रोड्स आपस में इंटरसेक्ट कर रहे हैं, तो इसमें क्या होगा? ये जो सेंटर पोर्शन है जिसमें दोनों तरफ से गाड़ियां आ रही हैं और रादर चारों तरफ से गाड़ियां आ रही हैं, व्हाट विल हैपन इन दिस एरिया? यू विल हैव अ लॉट ऑफ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स. बहुत सारे कॉन्फ्लिक्ट्स होंगे, बहुत सारे कंफ्यूजन्स होंगे. गाड़ियां कहीं से भी आ रही है, कहीं भी जा रही है, एंड देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ कंफ्यूजन. ठीक है, जब हम लोकल रोड की बात करते हैं, जब हम छोटे रोड्स की बात करते हैं, तब हम इसे इजीली मैनेज कर सकते हैं. हाउ? विद द हेल्प ऑफ अ ट्रैफिक लाइट. Okay, you allow a certain set of people to move, or you allow people from or only one direction to move, for example. Okay, and that is how you're managing this traffic, and you're reducing all the conflicts. That is one way. Let's say we are talking about two national highways. Okay, now national highways have high speed. Okay, we do not want to reduce the speed, and we do not want people to wait for the traffic light to go green. In that case, what do? We give grade separated intersection, or one road at this level probably and another road at this level. ठीक है, तो यहाँ वाला डायरेक्शन में मूवमेंट इजीली हो रहा है विदाउट एनी हिंड्रेंस, एंड इस डायरेक्शन में भी बहुत अच्छे से मूवमेंट हो रहा है विदाउट एनी हिंड्रेंस. दैट इज व्हाई यू गिव ग्रेड सेपरेटेड इंटरसेक्शन इन द फर्स्ट प्लेस. ठीक है, नाउ there are various ways of giving grade separated intersection. ठीक है, what causes the most problem in grade separated intersection is moving right, taking a right. ठीक है, imagine there's a flyover, तो flyover का movement इस direction में हो रहा है, दूसरा direction में यहाँ move कर रहे हैं, so this is very easy. ठीक है, once you want to take a right turn or a left turn, there should be some connection between the flyover and the road on the lower level. That is where the problem is caused. ठीक है, तो उसके बहुत अलग अलग तरीके होते हैं. You can check our video where we talk about the intersections in detail. That is also available on our YouTube video. But as far as this question is considered, we've already spoken about clover leaf. The name, where does it come from, how does it look like, and this is a clover leaf. Let's check how the other intersections also look like. This is a directional interchange. Okay, you have ramps for left turn, you have ramps for right turn, and you have roads to go straight also. That is your directional interchange. Trumpet, this is usually given where two important roads are meeting, but it is forming a T intersection. So they are meeting, they are not crossing each other. For that time, your trumpet interchange is usually given. And then you have the diamond interchange. Okay, so more on this on another video, wherein we talk about more types of interchanges. We talk about grade separated, at grade, and we talk about advantages and disadvantages of all of these. So you can check that video. Now moving on to the next one, that is question number 69. Which of the following is our value capture methods? First of all, what is value capture method? let's say the government has provided certain infrastructure, so planned and executed certain infrastructure in that particular area, because of which the overall value of the land or value of property in that particular area has increased. Okay. Now what will the government do? They will try to get some money or extract some money of the increased land value. They will try to get it from the owners of that place. Okay, that is value capture methods, and the money that they get from the owners of that place in the form of this, they will utilize in another infrastructure project. Okay, so which one of these is or are? As soon as is or are comes into a picture, this means it is a MSQ kind of question. Okay, please be very aware and very alert whenever you are reading questions. It's not mentioned separately whether it's a MSQ kind of question or MCQ kind of question. You have to read the question carefully and then understand. Okay, so please make a note of that. Next, building construction fees. No, that is not a type of value capture method. Fees for changing agriculture to non-agriculture land use. Yes, because what happens is once the land use is changed from agriculture to non-agriculture, automatically the land price increases, the value of that particular land increases. There are so many people ready to purchase this land, so the competition also increases, automatically the land price increases. So yes, B is one of the correct options. User charge, yes, that is like the meaning of value capture method. You are charging the users or the landowners per se, but here user charge is kind of a vague term, and we cannot say that it is one of those methods, so we are keeping it aside for now. Then premium on additional FSI FAR, yes, this is one of the very key or one of the very important methods of this VCM. Okay, so B and D, these are the correct answers for question 16-9. Moving on to the next one. Which among the following is our models? Is R means MSQ first of all. Then PPP model used for infrastructure projects. PPP is when the government, that is the public sector, works with the private sector or private firms on any project. So it could be that the government is asking the private project to design, or to design and execute, or to operate, or to manage, or multiple of these things. Okay, so that is your PPP model. Usually you will see BOOT or BOLT, these kind of PPP models you will usually find. What does this stand for? Let me tell you in brief. B usually stands for build. Okay, O usually stands for own or operate. L stands for lease. T stands for transfer. D stands for design. Okay, these are some of the terms that you should keep in mind. Okay, now BOLD, build, own or operate, lease, and then design. So does design come in the end? No, correct? So BOLD does not make any sense to us. BOLT, build, operate, lease, transfer, makes sense? Okay. Next, BOOT, okay, again this makes sense. Build, own, operate, transfer. BPOT is no PPP model. Okay, so A and D are the correct options over here. In the next slide, I have given notes, so you can directly make a note of this. Some of the PPP models are given. BOT, build, operate, transfer. BOO, build, own, operate. BOOT, that is build, own, operate, transfer. DBFO, so F is also there, finance, you can add it into the previous slide list. So DBFO, design, build, finance and operate. Build, transfer, operate. Build, lease, transfer. Or another one, or the newest addition into this, rehabilitate, operate, transfer. Build, rehabilitate, operate, transfer. These are also some methods of PPP, or some models or types of PPP rather, instead of methods. Okay, now coming to a numerical type of questions. NAT, as you can see, there are no options given over here, so you have to type the correct answer. Here it's given rounded off to 1 decimal place, so you have to make sure that your answer is up to 1 decimal place. Okay, otherwise you'll lose marks. Okay, If your answer does not fall into the range that they have given, you will get 0 marks. Even if it is like they have given it as 43 and your answer probably comes as 43.01, you won't get any answer. There is no negative marking, but at least you won't get any answer for these kind of rounding off errors also. Okay? So be very careful. Now, question number 71. The measured spot speeds in kilometer per hour of 10 vehicles from traffic stream are 45, 35, 25, 51, 45, 38, 61, 42, 47 and 49. The time mean speed of the traffic stream in kilometer per hour. So the unit is same in both, no conversions required. Rounded off to 1 decimal place is what? Now, first of all, this is easy 1 mark being given to you. You have to do nothing, just find out the mean. So time mean speed में you find out the absolute average or the absolute mean. Okay, and when it comes to space mean speed, at that time you have to find out the harmonic mean. Again, the calculation is very easy, but this is easier than that. Okay, very easy, 2 marks, 1 mark given to you. What you have to do is find out the average. How to find out the average? 45 plus 35 plus 25 plus 51 plus 45 plus 38 plus 61 plus 42 plus 47 plus 49 divided by how many speeds do we have? How many entities do we have in here? 10. So divided by 10. Once you solve for this, you get the answer as 43.8 kilometer per hour. 43.8 kilometer per hour. Okay? The range was given very nicely over here. It was between 42 to 44. Okay, this was the official range being given to you, which was like very good. Your answer will fall definitely within that. Okay, next. In a township, the price of each house was 25 lakhs in Indian rupees last month. The number of houses sold in a month, Q in thousands, is sensitive to the price of the house. Matlab, there is some relation between the price and the number of houses sold. Okay. And establishes a relationship. So this sensitivity or this relationship is also being given to you in the form of Q is equals to 6685 minus 0.0158p. This is the relationship being given to you. If the price of each house increases by 20% in the current month, in the previous month, let's say we are talking about July. Okay? That month the price was 25 lakh. This month it has been increased by 20%. Then the decrease in the sale of the houses. So P changes, or the changes made in P, that is price, has been given to you. Now you have to understand how Q is affected by that. Okay. So decrease in the sale of houses in percentage. In percentage, rounded off to 2 decimal places compared to the last month is what? Now, this seems to be a question from housing, but there is no concept or no formula that you have to use. This is like a general aptitude kind of a question. The relationship has been given to you. The change in P has been given to you. You have to find out how change in P is affecting Q, and you have to find out the difference between the number of houses sold in this month, August, and the number of houses sold in July, for example. Okay? But the difference you have to find in terms of percentage and not in terms of absolute number. That is the catch. So no formula required, no housing understanding required, just simply you have to solve the question. Okay? So let's take previous month or last month. Let us write L over here. Last month and current month. What you have to find out is difference between current month and previous month or last month, and this difference needs to be in terms of percentage. That's it. Okay? This is in terms of Q. Okay, chalo, really good. LM, last month ka relationship, let's try to write over here. Q is equals to 6685 minus 0.00158P. Okay, what was the price last month? 25 lakhs. 6685 minus 0.00158p is 25 lakhs. ठीक है, if you solve for this you get Q as 2735. ठीक है, this is Q of last month. Now current month Q is equals to 6685 minus 0.0158p, which is equals to 6685 minus 0.0158. What is P in this one? There has been a 20% increase. So 20% increase in 25 lakh. So you can write it down as 1.2 multiplied by 25 lakhs. Or you can solve it the old school method. For example, 25 lakhs plus 20% increase. So 20% multiplied by 25 lakhs. ठीक है, anyway you get the answer as 30 lakhs in both these cases. ठीक है, so multiplied by price of the current month is equals to 30 lakhs. If you solve for this you get the answer as 1945. ठीक है, so pause the video if you want time to calculate this, and you should arrive at 2735 houses and 1945 houses. Okay, now the difference between these I want to know. So difference is 2735 minus 1945. The answer is 790. Is this the answer? Absolutely not, because the unit in which they are expecting the answer is percentage. How do you find out the percentage change? Change divided by original. Okay, and since we are talking about percentage, so multiplied by 100 over here. So change is 790 divided by the original number of houses, that was 2735 multiplied by 100. Okay, if you solve for this you get the answer as 28.89 percentage. Okay, so if you're getting it as 89, you keep it as 89. Do not try to round off. Okay, 28.89, that is good enough. Okay, however, the range that has been given to you, the official range is 27 to 30. Okay, and your answer is well within that range, so good to go. Okay, I hope there is no problem in solving the question. In case you find difficulty in any of the questions that we've discussed in this class or in this video, put a comment. Okay, we will reply to that, and let's work it out together. Okay, at the end of the solution or at the end of this video, you should have no queries with respect to whatever question we've discussed. Next, from 23 to 81, all the questions carry 2 marks each. Okay, match the models in group 1 with their corresponding applications in group 2. This is again a question from transportation planning. Now, without going into the details of what these are, the applications are, or what the models are, let us just solve this question. Okay, for more details, again, as I've told you, you can check our YouTube video where we have put the details of all of this there. Okay, first, logic model is for your modal split. Okay, so P2. Green shield model is for traffic flow. Gravity model is for trip distribution, and multiple regression is for trip generation. Okay, so P2, Q3, R5 and S4. 2, 3, 5, 4, we have option C as the correct answer. Okay, when it comes to trip assignment can have methods like all or nothing, user equilibrium, these kind of methods you can have for trip assignment. Okay, let's talk about what these are. So there is something called as 4-stage model. Okay, 4-stage model mein it starts with traffic generation or trip generation. Matlab, let's say one study area we are dividing into multiple TAZs, that is traffic analyzing zones. Okay, now all these zones we are trying to understand where the trips are getting generated. So if we are talking about 7 AM in the morning, for example, most of the trips are going to generate from the house from a residence. Okay, so let's say we are dividing the entire TAZ1, 2, 3, 4, something like that, and let's say TAZ1 is that kind of an area which has maximum residences. Okay, or if we try to check, let's say land use में maybe 60% is residences, so more trips generating from TAZ1. ठीक है, now where are these trips getting distributed? Some of them are going to TAZ2, some of them to 3, some of them to 4. So trip generated from the house and maybe distributing to school, office, cinema, mall, anything. Okay, so that's where the trips are getting distributed to. Then modal split, mode as in the choice of transportation. Okay, for example, you choose to go by two-wheeler or a car or public transportation, or let's say auto rickshaw or whatever. That is your mode choice. So mode split. For example, 60% chose to go by their own vehicle, 20% chose metro, and the others chose various different types of methods, for example bus or auto rickshaw or taxi, Ola, whatever. Okay, so that is your modal split. And finally there comes trip assignment. How are you assigning these trips? Okay, so sometimes it is up to the user, whatever they feel is perfect for them or better for them, they choose that. Otherwise, we assign those trips as planners, as authorities, we assign those trips. So this is basically a 4-stage model. Okay, more on this in the detailed video, you can check that out. Next, match the proponents in group 1 with the corresponding theories in group 2. Okay, these theories are not very common, have not been frequently asked in any of the examinations. So let's try to understand each one of these in detail. First of all, creative class. What is creative class? Creative class is basically, let's say, artists, architects, engineers. Okay, so these were called as creative class, or these were called as creative people, and it was said that the backbone of the economy lies on the creative class. So there was a book called The Rise of Creative Class. The Rise of Creative Class, in which this theory was put forward of the creative class. Okay? Then right to city. What is right to city? Let's say we are not giving equal right to the LIG community, for example, to the EWS community. That should not be there. Right to city means whether you're from any background, any caste, any race, any economic background, you have a right to city. You have a right to decision making. You have a right to access public spaces. You have a right to utilize all the infrastructure that the authority has provided. So that is right to city. Okay, there's a book called Ledroit Ella Ville. Okay, my pronunciation could be wrong, but in this book the right to city has been mentioned in detail. Okay, then drive-in culture actually has nothing much to do with urban planning. It is, for example, there's a screen in which some movie is being displayed, some movie is being played, and you drive in your car, you sit in your car, you eat food, enjoy the movie. Something like that is the drive-in culture. Okay? It's not any urban planning theory as such. Then you have ladder of citizenship, citizen participation, sorry, in which it was said that let's say the institutions, they have a lot of power and the citizens do not have a lot of power. So the citizens should have more power and their participation is necessary and required. That was what was being communicated over here. Then comes broken window. This is the most, you can say, most relatable theory, you can say, in today's scenario. Okay, what happens is, let's say there is a particular neighborhood in which there is blind spots, there are graffiti made on the wall, the windows are broken, hence the name broken window. So what happens is that conveys a message that there's a lot of crime in this particular area. Now what was being talked about in this theory, broken window, was if you do not work on these things, and if you are trying to communicate an image that yes, this is a neighborhood that has a lot of crime, it only puts you in a bad place and worsens the situation of the neighborhood. Okay, this is what was being talked about in the broken window, and it was said that you have to take care of the broken windows, you have to fix that, otherwise it is going to cause more and more crimes in that area, nothing else. Okay, so let's read about this and then let's come to the answer. Creative class theory proposed by Richard Florida. So we already have the answer over here. Proposed by Richard Florida suggests that cities with high levels of talent, technology and tolerance, okay, these three keywords you must write in your notes, attract a skilled creative class. The creative class drives the economic growth drives the economic growth by fostering innovation, attracting high-tech industries, and creating dynamic economies. Their theory emphasizes that the quality of place, including cultural amenities, diversities, is crucial for drawing these skilled workers and promoting a virtuous cycle of innovative and job growth. So you must be aware that initially the ruling class had the power. Okay, they were given the most focus. Sometimes not the ruling people, but the religious heads, they are given the most importance. But what was being said over here is the creative people are the ones who drive the economic growth. They are the backbone of the society, okay, or of a particular settlement. That was creative class theory. Next, Right to City book, Ledroit Ella Ville. So this is Ella Ville, is a human right encompassing the equitable enjoyment of urban spaces and collective right for all city inhabitants to participate in benefit from their city's transformation and governance. Introduced by Henry Lefebvre in the 1960s, it goes beyond basic services to include the right to inhabit. So the basic services, for example, road, water, sanitation, solid waste management. So that is there. But the right to city goes beyond it. Okay, the right to inhabit, use, produce, and transform cities justly and inclusively. So everybody should be included, irrespective of economic background, irrespective of race, irrespective of each and everything. The right should be given to each and every citizen. It's what being said. Okay. Key aspects include access to adequate housing, public spaces and services, as well as the right of all inhabitations, especially vulnerable groups, to participate in the urban planning and decision making. Who's to tell what is good for vulnerable sections of the society? They themselves, though they should be given a right to participate. Okay. Excuse me. Next, the broken windows theory, okay, is a criminology concept, as we've already discussed, suggesting that visible signs of disorder as in something wrong, okay, not according to law and order of that particular area or that particular settlement, like broken windows, graffiti or litter, signal a lack of care and control in the neighborhood. Nobody bothers. Even if there is crime, nobody is there to fix it. They are keeping it as it is. Okay. So, signal lack of care, which in turn encourages further disorder and escalating serious crime. By addressing these minor forms of deviance and disorder, these are very minor things. Okay. For example, there's some graffiti on the wall. Okay, what does it say? Minor thing. But these minor things or these minor deviances and disorder is what is going to make it worse. So, communities can prevent a downward spiral into more serious criminal activity and improve residents' sense of safety. Okay, if there is a broken window, you fix the broken window, otherwise there are going to be serious crimes in that particular neighborhood. Basically, one line answer to the broken window theory. Then the ladder of citizen participation, developed by Sherry Ernstein, is a framework that illustrates different levels of citizen involvement in decision-making processes. It uses a metaphorical ladder with 8 rungs each representing a distinct degree of citizen power and influence. So ladder of citizen participation. Why should the authorities, why should the institutes only be responsible for decision making? Okay, citizens should also be given that particular power. This was what was being argued. Okay, so this is like a metaphorical ladder that we are talking about. Starts with non-participation, moves on to tokenism, and then moves on to citizen control. Okay, there is first manipulation, therapy, informing, consultation, placation, partnership, delegation, and then citizen control. Okay, you need not go into much depth of this ladder. Just know what are we talking about, who has given it and all. Okay, now coming back to the answer, we've already read about it. We already know who gave these theories. The answer is C. Okay, P5, broken window, was given by James Wilson and George K. Kelling. Then you have Q4, ladder of citizen participation, given by Sherry. Then you have Henry Lefebvre, who has given right to city, and Richard Florida, who has given creative class. Richard Florida is a very well-known name in urban sociology. So just in case you are also studying urban sociology, go into the depths of the works of Richard Florida. That is going to be very helpful. Okay, moving on to the next question. Match the artists, scientists in group 1 with the corresponding contributions in group 2. So Robert Park and Louis Wirth, again very well-known names in urban sociology. Then you have Jacob August Riss, you have Charles Booth and John Snow. And in group 2, you have poverty map, cholera map, tenement shelter photography, urban ethnography, and underground sewerage systems. Okay. Okay, in this one, let me give you the correct answer first and then we will discuss. P4. Okay. P4, Q3, R1 and S2. Okay, so option number A is correct. Okay, now what is poverty map? It was a map made for London. Okay, it was color coded and it shows street and like in a map, it's showing street and color coded. For example, economically good have, let's say, green or blue, and the lowest one EWS has red, something like that. Okay, so that was the poverty map being made to understand the various or the patterns of settlement with respect to the economic background. Okay, then cholera map, basically again some kind of a mapping was done again for the place London. Okay, and in this they try to understand where the problem is there so that they can solve it and cholera disease spread can be stopped. Okay, then you have tenement shelter photography, that is as straight as it is written over here. So the ownership of a particular area, so whether they are on rent, tenants, basically that is what they try to understand by making this map. Okay, and the last one is urban ethnography. What is urban ethnography? It is the study of how urban residents and other inhabitants make sense of their social worlds, okay, navigate surroundings, communities, and manage the forces and manage the urban experience or understand the urban experiences. That is urban ethnography, okay, which was given by Robert Park and Louis Wirth. Okay. Next, moving on to the next question. This is again the simplest kind of question that can be asked. Okay. Okay. In the conceptual diagram of the city given below, P, Q, R and S refer to urban patterns. Among the choices given below, the correct association is what? Okay. So, okay, S is the city. S, let's say, is the city. And there is a, oh no, this is the entire city, my mistake. This is the entire city. Something in between has been marked, so could be the CBD. Okay, the central business district or the commercial business district, which is usually towards the center of any city. Okay, that could be S. Then we have a metro line going over here. and there is some settlement marked along the metro line. So we know that any planning or zoning being done along any communication line or any transportation line, heavy transportation line, that is usually TOD, or transit oriented development, where you go for densification, so you increase the FAR, you go for mixed use, these kind of things. So that is TOD. This is the city boundary. And over here somewhere outside the city you have some kind of a settlement, and in the boundary of that city you have some kind of a settlement. Okay? So P can easily be said as a satellite town. What's a satellite town? Satellite towns are settlements that have been developed to take off the pressure from the main city. Okay, for example, Delhi is there. People from the entire country are moving to Delhi in search of better living quality, better quality of life, better job opportunities, etc. Similarly, people are going to Kolkata, people are going to Mumbai, people are going to Bangalore, and so on. Okay, many people are migrating to these areas, causing a lot of congestion, causing pressure on the existing urban infrastructure. फॉर एग्जाम्पल रोड, इसके ऊपर प्रेशर पड़ रहा है ना, लोग बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, कार्स बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, बसेस बढ़ते जा रहे हैं, देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ प्रेशर ऑन द रोड. ठीक है, लेट्स से वाटर सप्लाई पर भी बहुत ज्यादा प्रेशर बढ़ रहा है, बिकॉज यू हैव टू प्रोवाइड वाटर फॉर मोर एंड मोर पीपल नाउ. ठीक है, एयर पोल्यूशन इज गेटिंग कॉज, नॉइज पोल्यूशन इज बीइंग कॉज, सॉइल पोल्यूशन इज बीइंग कॉज्ड एंड ऑल दीज थिंग्स. सो देयर इज अ लॉट ऑफ प्रेशर ऑन द मेन city. What can be done by the authorities is you create another settlement a little away from the main city, not not far away, but geographically closer to the main city. Now instead of migrating to the main city, they will migrate to this settlement, okay, which is like newly growing, can take a lot of pressure. Infrastructure development can be according to the new population, etc. Okay, so this is the satellite town. The satellite town is going to be a little dependent and a little independent from the central city. Okay, so that is your satellite town. And this Q area can be called as peripheral development, or can be called as urban fringe area. Okay, so can you tell me from these options which is going to be the correct one? Take a minute and read all the options. P is satellite town, okay. Q is urban fringe, R is TOD, S is central business district. The first one itself is the correct answer. Okay, next. Which among the following are the components of assimilative carrying capacity of the urban environment? Carrying capacity, how much can it take? And we are talking about the urban environment over here. Okay, so air, yes. Water, yes. Economy, no. Soil, yes. ठीक है, economy is not a part of urban environment, and when it comes to carrying capacity, we do not usually consider it. The rest, yes. Air, we are bothered about. Water and soil, we are bothered about, and we have to take care of the carrying capacity of the urban environment while designing for any settlement. That is, ठीक है. Okay, next. In the transportation network given below, P, Q, R, S, T and U are the nodes and values mentioned on the links denote time in minutes. Which of the following options represent the minimum spanning tree? So minimum spanning tree is used to find out the shortest route. Okay? This shortest route can help you in trip assignment. Remember the 4-stage model that we talked about? Trip generation, distribution, modal split, and finally assigning of the trips. So when it comes to trip assignment, we can sometimes go with the shortest route method. यानी जो भी shortest route होगा हम उस पे trip assign करेंगे. So your minimum spanning tree is a method of understanding the shortest route, and then from the shortest route we can understand the trip assignment, or we can work on the trip assignment. ठीक है? So what you have to do simply is add these, and whichever is going to be the smallest, और is R वाला option है यहाँ पर, so let's say multiple भी हो सकता है, whichever one or whichever ones have the smallest number That is our answer. Okay, so PQ, these are all weights being given, and as you can see there are no arrows, so there is no particular direction in which you have to move on. Okay, so PQ 2 plus QR 2 plus QT 3 plus TS 3 plus SU 2. ठीक है, 4 plus 3 7 10 12. Next, PR 3 plus QR 2 plus RT 3 plus, sorry, PR is 3, okay, QR is 2, okay, and RT is 3, then TU is 4 plus SU is 2. So 5, 8, 12 and 14. ठीक है, PQ 2, QR 2, RT 3, TS 3 plus SU 2. This is 4 plus 3 7 plus 5 12, and then finally you have PQ. PQ is 2 plus QR 2 plus RS 6 plus ST 3 plus, okay, there is one missing from here, just give me a minute, plus TU. Okay, so TU over here is 4, which is equals to 4 plus 6 10 plus 3 plus 4 17. So the smallest are 12 12, that is A and C. Okay, that is the correct answer for you. Don't bother about the arrows, don't bother about the directions, just simply add up the weights, nothing else. Okay, next. Okay, this is a very interesting kind of question. A vehicle count survey in passenger car unit is conducted on a mid-block section of a road at regular intervals of 15 minutes from 8 o'clock to 10 o'clock, okay, AM. Based on the data given in the table below, the peak hour factor rounded off to 2 decimal places for the given survey is what? Okay. Now, first of all, what is peak hour? That 1 hour in the entire 24 hours where the maximum number of traffic you see on the road, in simple terms. ठीक है, we say that maximum traffic flow is there on the road. ठीक है, so that is the peak hour. अब usually हम क्या कहते हैं, सुबह का peak hour is 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock and शाम में peak hour is usually around 7 o'clock to 8 o'clock. That is now not how it works in transportation planning and engineering. There is just one peak hour in the entire 24 hours. ठीक है, that is first of all peak hour. What is peak hour factor? So there could be two things. First of all, it's not that the traffic is the highest in the entire hour. It could be that there is just half an hour or 15 minutes in which the traffic is the highest. But since we are talking about a peak hour, we take the entire hour into consideration, something like that. For example, let's say there are offices over here and the entry time is 10 o'clock, for example. So between 9:45 to 10 o'clock, we are going to see that there is the maximum traffic over here. But we say, for example, 9:30 to 10:30, or for example, 9 to 10 is the peak hour. ठीक है, sometimes that is also true कि ठीक है 9 to 10 is the peak hour, because let's say there is a SEZ, or for example there are a lot of offices, some start at 9, some start at 9:30, some start at 10, some have flexible hours, so yes, even if people reach late, that is okay, and all these things. So let's say there are a group of offices over here. So in this case, maybe it is true that from 9 to 10, yes, the traffic is the highest somewhere here, let's say. ठीक है, that could be there, or the traffic is highest only from 9 to 9:15, but we are considering it to be 9 to 10. This is the reason why we consider peak hour factor, or we study peak hour factor. That is number one. Now, since we are talking about number, let us try to write the formula for the peak hour factor also. So P car factor is the PCU or the passenger car unit in that entire 1 hour peak hour. So peak hour PCU divided by that peak or highest 15 minutes PCU. Okay? For example, here 405, that is 9:15 to 9:30. This is that peak 15 minutes where the number of vehicles on the road is the highest. Okay? So 15 minutes in which traffic is highest or PCO is highest, multiplied by 4. ठीक है? So we can get, for example, peak hour में there are 100 vehicles, every 15 minutes there are 24 vehicles, multiplied by 4, 100 divided by 101. You have your peak hour as or peak hour factor as 1. This could be the scenario, or you can have in the entire hour you have 100 vehicles, and in 15 minutes you have 75 vehicles that you have seen, multiplied by 4. For example, anything could be there. Okay? We have to find out the peak hour factor for the situation being given to us. One thing you must have observed is the peak hour is not given to you. So first of all, you have to find out the peak hour. It could be from 8 to 9, it could be from 8:15 to 9:15. Okay, it could be from 8 to 9, it could be from 8:15 to 9:15. Sorry, so 8 to 9, my mistake. Okay, 8 to first of all 9, then 8:15 to 9:15, 8:30 to 9:30, 8:45 to 9:45, or 9 to 10. Anything could be peak hour peak hour. So first of all, you have to add the PCU for 1 hour and check whichever is the highest. Okay? If you solve for 8 to 9, between 8 to 9 you get 1047 PCUs between 8 to 9. Between 9 to 10 you get 1329. Okay, how did we arrive at this? 212 plus 248 plus 272 plus 315 is 1047, and so on. Okay? You have to find for all of them. Then you will see that the peak hour is 8:45 to 9:45, which is 1377 PCU. Okay? This is a PCU for peak hour divided by between 8:45 to 9:45, which is the 15 minute slot in which you have the maximum PCU. You have 405. So 405 multiplied by 4. Okay? When you solve for this, you get the answer as 1377 divided by 1692. Sorry, 1620. Okay? And the answer is 0.85. This is your peak hour factor. If we talk about the official answer key, 0.83 to 0.87 was given. 0.83 to 0.87 was the range that was given in the official answer key. Okay? Okay. Moving on to the next question. Okay. A landowner has shown interest in town planning scheme. Okay. Based on the details of the scheme given in the following table, the estimated net benefit to the landowner after land development is going to be what? Okay. How does TPS scheme work? For example, there is a neighborhood which is very chaotic as of now. There are no open spaces, no gardens, maybe very bad scenario when it comes to parking, maybe narrow roads, and in general the quality of life is not good. So the authority decides we are going to go for TPS scheme. They are going to provide better infrastructure, better roads, open spaces, better water supply, better drainage, solid waste management, everything. Okay, that is what the authority is going to work on. Now remember we talked about value capture methods. So the authority, what they are doing is land reconstitution. Matlab, they are going to take the land from them, not acquire. Take the land from the owners for some time. Okay, they are going to pool the land, reconstitute it, okay, make it better, provide infrastructures, and give it back to the owners in the proportion which they got it. For example, किसी ने इतना दिया था उसको इन प्रोपोर्शन वापस मिलेगा, किसी ने अगर इतना दिया था उसको इन प्रोपोर्शन वापस मिलेगा, इक्वल वापस नहीं मिलेगा. दैट इज वन थिंग, दैट इज योर टीपीएस स्कीम. ठीक है, रिकॉन्स्टिट्यूशन हो गया. अब सिंस द गवर्नमेंट or since the authority has just taken the land from you, worked on it and given it back to you guys, so where is the money coming from? The government does not have money to just give it to people now, so they are also looking for money. Unko paisa kahan se milega if they are working on the infrastructure, better road and all these things? One is they are constituting more plots. So if they got 10 plots, they are somehow increasing the number of plots, not decreasing your land and taking out more plots out of it. They work it accordingly. ठीक है, तो अब they are taking out more plots from it and maybe selling it off to other people, and that's how they are getting money. Another thing, betterment charges. ठीक है, so these landowners who've given their land and the government has worked on it and they've got a better land to themselves with better infrastructure. अब सब कुछ अगर better है, road है, parking है, water supply है, सब कुछ अगर better है, तो obviously there is going to be more footfall in that area. If there are commercial shops, so there is going to be more footfall. More footfall means more profit. So definitely they are going to benefit from it. So they are going to give some betterment charge to the government that okay, you made our place better because of which we are going to benefit. So this is our charge for you. ठीक है, तो that is the scenario. So what is happening? Original plot size was 500 square meter. Okay, original land value was 1200 Indian rupees per square meter. Okay, plot deduction for development, there was a deduction of 40%. ठीक है, 40% deduction से maybe the rest of the place they made roads, they made parking areas and so on. So out of 400 square meter there was a deduction of 40%. Okay, plot deduction of 40%. Then developed land value, initially each square meter was of 1200 rupees. Now after this TPS, after this infrastructure has been injected into that, the land value has increased 2800, which is so good. ठीक है, if you have better infrastructure, if everything is good, automatically the land value increases. More and more people are lined up to take the land or to purchase the land. Best scenario. Then total betterment cost to be paid by the landowner. Landowner जो authority को देगा, वो total betterment cost क्या रहेगा? 50% of the increased total land value. जो भी increase हुआ है, मतलब from 1200 to 2800, ये जो increase हुआ है, total increase का 50% the landowner is going to give it to the authorities. ठीक है, very simple. Yes, there was an application of the understanding of TPS and betterment cost and etc. But even without it, I think you would have been able to answer it because in linguistic terms or English maybe it has been put very well and in a very simple language. So easy to understand. But let's solve this now. Original land value. Okay, original land is 500 square meter. There is a reduction of 40%. So now the revised or the new land is 300 square meter. ठीक है, so old versus new, let's try to understand it like that. Original, new. ठीक है, originally the plot size is 500, new is 300. Why? 500 minus 40% of 500. The new land plot size is 300. Okay, Original land value is how much? 1200 per square meter. How many square meter are there? 500. So 500 multiplied by 1200. What is the new value? 300 multiplied by 2800. ठीक है? What answer do you get? For the first one, you get 6 lakhs as the answer for the original plot. For the new plot, you get the answer as 8.4 lakhs. Okay, now 50% of the increased total land value you have to give for betterment value. What is the increased total land value? 8.4 minus 6 lakhs is the increase in the land value, which is 2.4 lakhs. ठीक है, इसका 50% you have to pay. So 50% of 2.4 is what? 1.2 lakhs. As simple as that. Very simple calculations, very simple to understand. Your answer is 1,20,000. Okay. When it comes to the official answer key, the range was very wide. It was 1,18,000 to 1,22,000. Okay, but there are no decimals there. There's no chances of rounding off or anything. Most of you should get 1.2 lakhs as the answer. Moving on to the last question for this video. The year-wise cash flow in Indian rupees of a construction project are given in the following table. If the annual discount rate for the project is assumed to be 12%, the net present value in Indian rupees rounded off to the decimal places for the project will be what? Okay. Now, first of all, understand that there is something called as present value and future value. This is coming from the time value of money. कैसे? आज के 10 रुपए कल के 10 रुपए से ज़्यादा valuable है. How did we arrive to this? For example, if you wanted to purchase a chocolate, a Kit Kat, for example, the same quantity, the same size of the chocolate you would get in 5 rupees. Now you get the same in 10 rupees or in 15 or in 20 rupees. Maggi packet you used to get in 8 rupees or 10 rupees. Now you get it for 14 rupees. ठीक है, तो उसी पैसे में आपको कम मिलेगा या नहीं मिलेगा? ओके, 10 रुपीज उस टाइम आपको मिल जाता था, 10 रुपीज में अभी या तो आपको नहीं मिलेगा. 10 रुपीज you go to somebody and say I want a Maggi packet, they'll say no, we don't have. Or else if it is like open kind of a thing, not packaged item but open kind of a thing, they'll give you less. ठीक है, that kind of a thing. So future value कभी भी पैसे का कम होता है, current value कभी भी पैसे का ज़्यादा होता है. This is the first concept you have to understand. And then there is something called as cash outflow and cash inflow. आपने एक रेस्टोरेंट ओपन किया, उसमें आपको पहले कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट चाहिए होगा, कुछ आपको इन्वेस्ट करना है. मतलब आप इन्वेस्ट कर रहे हैं, आपकी तरफ से तो आउटफ्लो हो गया, आपकी तरफ से तो वो पैसा चला गया. दैट इज कैश आउटफ्लो. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल आपने प्रॉपर्टी खरीदी, आपने फर्नीचर खरीदा, शेफ्स को अपॉइंट किया, बाकी सारे स्टाफ को अपॉइंट किया एंड सो ऑन. सो दैट वाज इन्वेस्टमेंट. सो इनिशियली लेट्स से यू पुट इन 5 लाख रुपीज. ठीक है, उसके बाद 2 साल आपने कुछ नहीं इन्वेस्ट किया. ओके, कैश इनफ्लो क्यों नहीं है, प्रॉफिट क्यों नहीं है? क्योंकि अभी वी आर नॉट एट द स्टेज ऑफ ब्रेक इवन. ठीक है, हम प्रॉफिट नहीं कमा रहे हैं, मे बी हमें पैसे मिल रहे हैं बट वो और चीजों में चले जा रहे हैं. ठीक है, फॉर एग्जाम्पल, सो वी आर नॉट अर्निंग एनीथिंग फॉर एग्जाम्पल, और इवन इफ यू आर अर्निंग समथिंग इट्स नॉट अ प्रॉफिट और इट्स नॉट इनफ्लो फॉर एग्जाम्पल. ठीक है, आफ्टर सम टाइम वी स्टार्ट अर्निंग, सो दैट इज इनफ्लो. ठीक है, अब इसमें you are investing also something, you may invest something, you may not invest anything. At the beginning of the entire, you can say, business, you have to put in some money, definitely that is the capital investment. उसके बाद may or may not be. ठीक है, अब coming back to net present value. net क्या होता है? For example, net salary, gross salary. Okay, CTC company, cost to company is something different. After deductions you get something different in your hand, that is your net salary. ठीक है, gross salary could be your CTC. Or for example you get let's say 50,000 in hand, out of which you have to pay rent, you have to pay transportation cost, ये सब मिला करके you are left with let's say 35,000 for example. That is your net salary. ठीक है, the same we are talking about here, net, what is left with you. Okay, you invested 5 lakh, you got 6 lakhs. So outflow was of 5 lakhs, इनफ्लो वाज मे बी लेटर ऑन ऐसे कर करके 6 lakhs, ठीक है. योर नेट वैल्यू इज 1 lakh समथिंग लाइक दैट, ठीक है. अब ये जो नेट कैलकुलेट कर रहे हैं, व्हाई इज इट नॉट एज सिंपल एज 5 गया और 6 आया? बिकॉज वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट फ्यूचर वैल्यू ऑल्सो. अब ये फ्यूचर वैल्यू में और प्रेजेंट वैल्यू में कितना डिफरेंस है? इट हैज बीन गिवन 12%. तो जो भी हम कैलकुलेशन करेंगे, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी हैव टू ब्रिंग द मनी टू प्रेजेंट वैल्यू. फ्यूचर में उसका जो वैल्यू होगा अकॉर्डिंग टू 12% वो होगा, बट अभी उसका क्या वैल्यू है 0th ईयर में, इस समय उसका क्या वैल्यू है, पहले हम ये समझेंगे, ठीक है. सो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल वी हैव टू अंडरस्टैंड कैश आउटफ्लो इतना है 5 lakhs का, ठीक है. उसके बाद वी हैव टू ब्रिंग द फ्यूचर वैल्यूज जो कि फर्स्ट ईयर से स्टार्ट होता है टू द प्रेजेंट वैल्यू जो कि 0th ईयर में है, आज 0th ईयर 2025, ठीक है. सो फर्स्ट वी विल ट्राई टू कन्वर्ट एवरीथिंग और द फ्यूचर वैल्यू इनटू प्रेजेंट वैल्यू सबसे पहले तो. ओके, हाउ टू डू दैट? नेट फ्लो डिवाइडेड बाय 1 प्लस डी आर टू द पावर n. ये डी आर क्या है? 12%, ठीक है. सो नेट फ्लो, अब नेट फ्लो क्या है? ये फ्यूचर वैल्यू प्रेजेंट वैल्यू में अभी के लिए आई एम इरेजिंग दिस. नेट फ्लो यू कैन मेक अनदर कॉलम ओवर हियर. नेट फ्लो, this is 5 lakhs over here, which is actually not flow, net flow नहीं है वो, it is your capital investment only, ठीक है. But let's take that into consideration. Then you have 0, then you have 0. Net flow for this year will be the difference between these two, that is 180 minus 50. So this is 1.3 lakhs, then you have 1.7 lakhs, 2.4 lakhs, and this is 3.3 lakhs, ठीक है. This is your net flow. Now how to convert everything into the present value? We've already seen. Present value of net future returns is what we are trying to calculate over here. For the first one it is going to be 0. Why? N is 0, nth year is 0, so the first value or the first term is 0, plus there is no net flow, numerator is 0, so the entire term becomes 0. What I am trying to tell over here is, let's write. एक तो ये 5 lakhs 0th ईयर का है तो कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट है, नेट फ्लो नहीं भी निकालते तो इट वुड हैव बीन ओके. 5 lakh डिवाइडेड बाय 1 प्लस और 1.12 to the power 0. Where is this 1.12 coming from? 1 plus dr, that is 12 divided by 100. 1 plus 12 divided by 100 is what? 1 plus 0.12, which is 1.12. Directly I have used it as 1.12 to the power 0. This terms becomes 0, plus net flow in the first year is 0. 0 divided by 1.12 to the power 1, again 0, plus 0 divided by 1.12 to the power 2, again 0. So the first three terms are 0. My calculation starts from the third year when I have the net flow as some numerical value. ठीक है? So 1.3 divided by 1.12 to the power 3 plus 1.7 lakhs divided by 1.12 to the power 4 plus 2.4 lakhs, 4 lakhs divided by 1.12 to the power 5 plus 3.3 lakhs divided by 1.12 to the power 6. ठीक है? Now, if you solve for this entire term, that is 1.13 lakhs divided by 1.12 to the power 3 till 3.3 lakh divided by 1.1 to the power 6. If you solve for this, you get the answer as 503 497 if I am not wrong. No, 40. 503 940.37. Sorry, 0.27. ठीक है? This is the answer that you get. 503,940.27. ये है आपका प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ नेट फ्यूचर रिटर्न्स. ठीक है? प्रेजेंट वैल्यू ऑफ नेट फ्यूचर रिटर्न्स. अब एनपीवी क्या होगा? NPV नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू इज इक्वल टू जितना आपका इनफ्लो है, जितना पैसा आया है माइनस जो आपने इनिशियली कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट किया था विच वाज 5 lakhs. So the answer is 3940.27, that is your NPV. ठीक है, तो स्टेप बाय स्टेप याद रखना है इसको. इफ यू आर टॉकिंग अबाउट द ऑफिशियल आंसर की, द रेंज इज अगेन वेरी वाइड, 3800 to 5020, 3800 to 5020. So your answer should lie within that. Okay, let's revise the steps once more. What you have to do is, first of all, find out the net flow. Okay, net flow would be the difference between annual cash outflow and annual cash inflow. एक बार आपने net flow निकाल लिया, उसके बाद you have to convert all the future values into present values with the help of the DR that has been given as 12%. The formula is here. You convert everything to present value. Then NPV is equals to जितना भी आपने कमाया है या जितना भी टोटल इनफ्लो है माइनस द कैपिटल इन्वेस्टमेंट दैट यू हैड पुट इन विच इज 3940. अब आपको दिख रहा है यहाँ पर 3.3 lakhs कमाया, 2.9 lakhs कमाया, एंड स्टिल वी आर सेइंग कि नेट प्रेजेंट वैल्यू इज समथिंग इन 3000. व्हाई दिस? फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल देयर इज सम आउटफ्लो हियर ऑल्सो, जिसकी वजह से नेट फ्लो कम हुआ है, प्लस दीज आर द फ्यूचर वैल्यूज. आज अगर मैंने 5 लाख रुपए लगाए हैं, 4 साल बाद मुझे 5 लाख रुपए वापस मिल रहे हैं, वी आर नॉट एट जीरो. ठीक है, आज की वैल्यू 5 लाख की ज्यादा है, कल की कम है. दिस इज व्हाट वी हैव बीन टॉकिंग अबाउट एंड दैट इज समथिंग दैट यू हैव टू रिमेंबर. ठीक है, विद दिस वी आर डन विथ आवर B2 पार्ट ऑफ 2022. As I told you at the beginning of the lecture, at the beginning of this video, that go to our YouTube channel, you will find a playlist of the previous year question papers. You will find many questions there, not only of GATE but of UPSC, HPSC, MPSC and so on. So go and check that also. Irrespective of what exam you are preparing for, you have to look into the PYQs of any exam paper that you can get a hold of. That is number one. Number two, what you can do is you can download our app, that is KP Classes app, and the link is given in the description also. You can check that. And what you can do is you can get free content. Okay, for example, there are so many documents that you have to read in order to be prepared for this examination. So all those documents are available on our app at only ₹1. So just ₹1 you have to pay for that. Okay, as equal as free content. So you can download our app and get a hold of all those documents also. Keep in touch. We'll come up with more PYQs. Thank you for now.
Hi everyone, my name is Prabhat Kanojia and we are continuing this series of general aptitude, and in this series we had covered the general aptitude paper of 2021, and now in today's class we are going to continue this discussion and we will be having discussion on the general aptitude 2022 question paper. And when we will be solving these question papers, you will observe a pattern that almost 50% of the questions requires no prior knowledge of the general aptitude subject. If you have the basic critical thinking, you will be able to solve these questions without even having the prior knowledge of the subject. But there are certain questions, you will be finding 5 to 6 questions. For that you need to understand the basic aptitude, right? You need to have the understanding of basic aptitude, and there are some repeated questions. You will find that there are certain important topics. So to cover all of that, we are going to discuss this 2022 paper. Let's talk about the question number 1. Although that is not from my subject, but that can be solved on the critical thinking. It says, after playing hours of tennis, I am feeling tired to walk back. What word can be put here? So if I am talking about the first word, it says playing 2 hours. Can it be the correct one? We know that he has been playing tennis for 2 hours. It's very basic, it's very common. I don't need to explain any of these things. I am feeling too tired. Does it make sense? The answer is no. He was feeling too tired. So which option we are left with? Only option D is the correct one. After playing 2 hours of tennis, I am feeling too tired to walk back. This question number 1 is done. Now you don't need any prior knowledge of the subject. You will be able to solve these kind of questions. Now here comes to question number 2, which is based on the average as well as on the concept of percentage. So percentage, average, ratios, you need to know these are the foundation or the building blocks of the aptitude, right? So this question number 2 says the average monthly salary of M and S is 4,000. Now if you know that if the average salary of 3 people is 4,000, that means on an average M is making 4,000, N is making 4,000, S is making 4,000. So what will be the total salary of M and S? The total salary will be equal to what? Will be equal to 4,000 multiplied by 3. That means that is going to be 12,000. I hope you understand that. What do we mean by average? Suppose there is a batsman, there is a team of 11 players, and the strike rate per batsman is going to be, for an example, it is 40. So that means on an average, every player is making 40 runs. That does not mean every player is making 40 runs, but if you are going to count the runs made by 11 players, you will be finding that 40 multiplied by 11 are the total number of runs that are being made by the team. So here M plus N plus S is giving 12,000, and then after that it says the average of the monthly salary of N, S and P. Now monthly salary average of N, S, P is 5,000. That means on an average N is making 5,000, S is making 5,000, P is making 5,000. So what will be the total salary of these three people? It will be 5 plus 5 plus 5. That means it will be 15,000. So we can write it like this: N plus S plus P, that is equal to 15,000. That is equal to 15,000. Now the monthly salary of P is 6,000. That is also given. We need to calculate the salary of M as a percentage of salary of P. That means we need to calculate the salary of two people. We want to make the comparison on the salary of these two. So for that we need to make the we need to calculate the salary of P and M. How can we do that? Now we need to find M. We need to find P. So if we subtract those, if we are going to subtract the second equation from the first one, or we are going to subtract the first from the second one, what will be getting? 15,000 will be subtracted from 12,000, will be given 3,000 on the right hand side. Then this N, S, P will be subtracted from M and S. This N and S will be balanced and will be getting P minus M. So this P minus M is equal to 3,000. I hope you get that. Where this equation is coming from? Though you will not be making, you will not be taking much time on that. I am just trying to make the concept clear, and that is why we are taking much time on the same. So P minus M is 3,000, and then after that, what is given? The salary of P is already given, 6,000. So 6,000 is the salary now from this month. You can find out what is the salary of M. So the salary of M will be what? 3,000. So if you know that the salary of M is 3,000, salary of P is 6,000. Now they are asking what is the salary of M as compared to the salary of P. Now if the salary of P is 6,000, the salary of M is 3,000. Isn't it half? Isn't it 50%? You even don't need to calculate. So these are what? These questions, like, I don't think they need any prior knowledge of the subject. If you have the basic critical thinking and basic knowledge of the math, you will be easily able to solve those kind of questions. Now this question number 3 is based on speed, distance and time. It says a person travels 80 kilometers in 6 hours. Now suppose this is 80 kilometer distance. Try to understand what they have given. This is the 80 kilometer distance, and a person covers this complete entire distance in the 6 hours of time. Right? He covers the entire distance in 6 hours. If the person travels the first part, he is traveling the first part at 10 km per hour. In the another part, at what speed? At the 18 km per hour speed. But we don't know what distance he has covered at this speed, what distance he has covered at this speed. So we can make an equation on time. Try to understand. There are many ways of solving these kind of questions, but the basic way to frame these kind of questions is what? Here the total time is given. That means the time that he took for the entire journey is going to be what? The total time he took for the entire journey is 6 hours. So he has taken 6 hours of time to cover the entire journey. And this time he has taken, first part he has covered at a different speed, and the another part he has covered to different speed. So what I am saying is total time what he has taken is equal to the time taken at a uniform speed of 10 and time taken at a uniform distance of 18. We have done that. Now this total time is given 6 hours. Time is equal to what? Distance upon speed. So suppose he has covered a distance of x kilometer at this speed of 10 km per hour. So if you know that, time is equal to what? Time is equal to distance upon speed. So here if the distance he has covered x by 10, the total distance is given 80. So it will be 80 minus x. Whatever left is covered at what speed? Whatever left is now covered at a speed of 18 km per hour. Alright. Just wait for a minute. There is a technical glitch. Okay. So this is the website where you can download all these papers. We have directly opened it from there. Now coming on the question number 3, we were having discussion on the speed, distance and time. Just second. It must be there in the download format. Okay. Okay, so we have done the question number 1. That was option D was the correct one. Without even having the prior knowledge of the subject, we can solve question like this. And here also, this question is also very basic. Again, the third one is what? What we have done is, we have made a equation on time, right? So total time we took is 6 hours. So time taking at a distance speed of 10 is what? X by 10 plus whatever distance left now is 80 minus x divided by 18. And once you are going to take the LCM of this part, 18 and 10, the LCM is going to be 90. So this will be 9x plus 18. This will be giving 5x. No, it will be giving 18 divided by 19 will be giving what? 5. 5 into 80. 5 into 80. 400 minus this again 5 into 5x, and that is equal to what? 6. 9 into 6 will be giving what? 54. So 540 is equal to what? 9 minus 5 will be giving 4x and plus 400. So this 4x will be subtracted from 540, will be giving what? Will be giving 140, and 140 is equal to what? 140 is equal to 4x. So what will be x? Will be equal to 35, right? So if x is equal to 35, try to understand. Once you are going to divide it, you'll be getting 35. So if x is 35, what they are asking? 35 is not the answer. Yeah. Thankfully, it was not given in option. There are many students who could have wanted that 35 is the answer, but that is not the case. They are saying what percentage of the total distance is traveled at a uniform speed of 10 km per hour. So he has traveled a distance of 35. He has covered a distance of 35 at what speed? At 10. So this distance is making what part of the total distance? So total is 80. So if out of 80 it is 35, what will be? It is out of 100. So once you are going to simplify it, you will be getting the answer. I am going to simplify it by dividing it by 5. So if I am going to divide it by 5, what will be getting? Not 5, 20. You will be getting 5 here, you will be getting 4 here. So 35 into 5, 175 divided by 4, and once I am going to simplify it, will be getting something near about 43.75. So that will be the answer, 43.75%. So that is the answer in such a case. So you can simply make a equation on time. Total time is equal to T1 plus T2, and that's how we can simplify it and we can get the answer. Now here comes the question number 4. Again, it requires no prior knowledge of the subject again, but if you will be having the basic understanding of the same, you will take less time on these kind of questions. It says 4 girls are there, P, Q, R and S, and they are studying language in the universities. P is learning French and Dutch. Try to understand what P is learning. P is learning French and Dutch. Q is learning Chinese and Japanese. R is learning Spanish and French, and S is learning Dutch and Japanese. Now here it says French is easier than Dutch. Try to understand. We will make a figure out of this. Like we will represent it on a single line so that we can make the comparison easily. Here it says French is easier than Dutch, right? So I am writing Dutch here, and French is easier, right? French, I'm writing it like this. Then it says Chinese is harder than Japanese. But Chinese and Japanese are not given here. So let's go on the other side. It says Dutch is easier than Japanese. Dutch is easier than Japanese. We can denote it like this. I hope you understand that. Dutch is easier than Japanese. Now Chinese is harder than Japanese. Chinese is harder than Japanese. We can write it like this. Now Chinese will be coming in this place. Chinese is harder than Japanese, and Dutch is easier than French. So we have denoted like this. Now then after that it says Dutch is easier than Japanese. Dutch is easier than Japanese. We have already covered. Spanish is easier than French. We have represented it so that we can make the comparison easily. Now they are saying based on the above point, which girl is writing the most difficult pair of language. So now if you know that the most difficult pair of language is Chinese and Japanese. Now who is learning Chinese and Japanese? Who is learning Chinese and Japanese? Option B will be the correct one. So these 1 mark questions are, I guess, very simple. This is about question number 1. If you are not able to understand it, go through the video again. You can pause the video and you'll be able to understand it very easily. Now here comes a question that is based on spatial aptitude, and this is a part you cannot skip if you are going to appear in this exam, because in the last question also we have got question from the spatial aptitude. I think we got the 2 questions from the same. One was based on a word was given and we were looking for the mirror image of the same. and the other one was from different one, right? So here questions on the special aptitude are very important. Just like it is very obvious for the GATE exam. A block with a trapezoidal cross section is placed over a block, right? With a rectangular cross section as shown above, right? Which one of the following is correct drawing of the view of the 3D object as viewed in the direction indicated by an arrow? So if you are going to look into this figure from this side and you are going to draw it, what will be the drawing of this figure? You try to this box from this side will look like a rectangle. It will be looking like this. It will be looking like this. It will be looking like this. It will be looking like that. But you will be getting this figure as this. No? You will be locating this figure as this. In this similar to option A. But here it is going till here. Is it coming down like this? It is not coming down like this. So it cannot be the correct one. It cannot be the correct one. It cannot be the correct one. So if you are going to view this figure from the side, so how you will be making the drawing of the same? So this rectangle will look like, and it is given in all the options. But if you are going to draw it from this side, it will be looking like this, and it will be exactly similar to the option A. So the here answer is going to be option A. I hope this is clearly visible on the screen. I hope this is clearly visible on the screen now. Okay. So this is about question number 5. Moving ahead, this question number 6 is given. Now again, this is not from my subject. No, it is from my subject, I guess. Oh, logical inference. No? Okay. So this is from the logical reasoning statements and inferences. So what inference we can draw and what inference we cannot draw from the passage. It says humans are naturally compassionate and honest. Humans are naturally compassionate and honest. In an study using a strategy placed wallet that appears lost, it was found that wallets with money are more likely to be returned than wallets without money. That people are more interested in returning the wallets which are lost, which are having money inside it, than the wallets which are without money. Similarly, wallets that had a key and money are more likely to be returned than the wallet with the same amount of money alone. That means people are being very responsible towards the person who has lost the wallet. If you are having money inside it, there is a higher possibility that it will be returned. If you are, if you are putting keys and money in the wallet, the probability gets higher. So it says the money are more likely to be returned than wallet with the same amount of money alone. This suggests that the primary reason for the behavior is compassion and empathy. People, because of compassion and empathy, they try to return the wallet which are having money as well as keys. So wallet with the keys are more likely to be returned because people do not care about money. It is not the correct statement to make. I hope you understand that. People also return the wallet which are having money. People also return the wallet which are having keys also. So it is not the correct statement to make. Here it says wallet with the keys are more likely to be returned because people relate to the sufferings of others. No, it is in a way. People who understand the sufferings of others are compassionate, are having empathy towards the people. Empathy means what? A person who can understand the suffering of the other people. So that is the more logical answer. Let's talk about the other options that are given. Money is always more important than keys. This is what, whenever you are getting extreme statement, always, never, no, right? So always these kind of inferences are wrong. It says wallet used in the experiments are more likely to be returned than the wallets that are really lost. Here a comparison is being made between two units, and one unit is not being given in the option. There is no discussion on the lost wallets which are really lost and which are put for the experiment. There is no such comparison being made. So these kind of comparisons are always wrong. Extreme in case of general in case of extreme are always wrong, right? And here it was going against this statement. So the only correct option is B in this case. Let's talk about question number 7. Question number 7 says a rhombus is formed by the joining of the midpoint of the side of a square unit. What is the diameter of the circle that can be inscribed within the rhombus? So in this part, in this general aptitude, whatever question we are getting on mensuration, it will never be directly on the formula. It will never be directly on the volume or the curved surface area or the total surface area. I guess in this year we have got another question from the mensuration topic. Okay, it was again equilateral triangle and they are talking about the perimeters. Again, this is from mensuration. That means in the year 2022 we got 2 questions from the mensuration, but you cannot solve these questions only and only by learning formula if you don't know the concept. So for such kind of questions, you need to have the basic understanding of the topic mensuration or the basic topic of general aptitude. Here it says a rhombus is formed by joining the midpoint of the side of a unit square. Now, this is a square for an example, right? Of a square. What is given? A rhombus is formed by joining the midpoints of side of unit square. Here means which side is having 1, 1, 1 and 1. What is the diameter of the largest circle? That is described within the rhombus. A rhombus is formed by joining the midpoints of the side of a unit square, right? These are the midpoints, these are the midpoints, these are the midpoints. So I am going to join these midpoints and I am making a rhombus here, right? So we have made a rhombus here. Now they could have asked some different question on the same also. Now here a rhombus is being formed. There is a property that if you are making a rhombus, the diagonal of rhombus bisect each other at the angle of 90 degrees. So it is not useful in this question, but it can be framed question in this manner also. It can be framed in future. So for that, so a rhombus is what? Rhombus, all sides are equal. If this is A, this is A, this is A, this is A, and the opposite sides are parallel, and then after that the diagonal of rhombus bisect each other at the angle of 90 degrees. So these are the properties of rhombus. Now here it says what is the diameter of the largest circle that can be inscribed within the rhombus. If I am going to draw a circle of largest possible radius, try and understand. When I am talking about the largest possible radius inside a rhombus, it will look like this. I hope you understand. It will look like this. And we need to find out what will be the diameter. So if I am going to draw a diameter of the same, isn't it similar to this line? Isn't it similar to this line? So that means we need to calculate this side. So this is 90 degrees. This is 90 degrees because it is a square. And the side total is 1. So it will be 1 by 2. It will be also 1 by 2. And we can use the Pythagoras theorem in this triangle and we can find out what will be this side. And this side will be the diameter, will be equal to the diameter of this circle which is being such form. So how we can do that? Under root 1 upon 2 square, 1 upon 2 square. So we will be getting 1 upon 4, 1 upon 4, we will be getting 1 upon 2. So it will be 1 upon root 2. So 1 upon root 2 is what? 1 upon root 2 is the diameter of the circle. So what they have asked here? They have asked what is the diameter? So the answer will be 1 upon root 2. They can ask what is the area of the circle such form. You can put the pi in the square. If they will be asking what is the radius, so for radius you can divide it by 2. So it will be 1 by 2 root 2. So if they will be asking what is the radius, this will be the answer. If they will be asking what is the area, they will be writing like this, pi r square, where r will be 2 root 2. So any kind of question can be given. They can even ask about the perimeter of the circle such form. So you need to put the radius in 2 pi r. Will be getting the answer. So that is why knowing the concept becomes very important for such kind of questions. Moving ahead, the question number 8 is given, which is talking about an equilateral triangle, a square and a circle have equal areas. What is the ratio of the perimeters of the equilateral triangle to square and to circle? Right? Again, whatever given in the question, just try and implicate that. Equilateral triangle is there, square is there, and circle is there. Let's assume that equilateral triangle is a triangle which is having all sides equal. So let's assume that the side is 2. The square side is capital A. Then after that, the circle, the radius is smaller. We have assumed that. Now what is the area of equilateral triangle? Root 3 upon 4a square. I hope all of you know that. 1 upon 2 base into height. Base, once you draw in perpendicular in the equilateral triangle, it will divide into half part, and then we use the hypotenuse and then that theorem, Pythagoras theorem, and we find it out. Root 3 upon 4 a square, that is the area of equilateral triangle. That is equal to the area of a square. So if the side is a, area will be a square. That is equal to the area of circle. That is pi r square, and they are equal. So if they are equal, they will be equal to a number. They will be equal to a unit. Let's assume that unit is going to be 3, right? So here now what they are asking, what is the ratio of the perimeter of the equilateral triangle to the square to the circle? We need to find out what is the ratio of perimeter. Now for perimeter, in case of triangle, what is perimeter? A, the perimeter is 3a, right? Here, what is the perimeter? That will be 4a. A, 4a. What is the perimeter of a circle? It will be 2 pi r. I hope you understand that. Now to find it out, you know that if you want to find out 3a, you need to find a. If you want to find 4a, you need to find a. So we will calculate that first in terms of k, and we will cancel out k because k is not given in the question. So we will cancel that out and we will be finding the ratio. So that is how we make approach. What should be the right approach to go about a question? Now here, let's solve it. A. If you are going to find out this A square is equal to this 4k will be there. 4k upon root 3 will be there. Now if I am going to remove this power, it will be under root 4k and this will be root, right? It will be like this. So again I can write it differently. I will remove this. It will be what? It will be 2 root k. I hope you understand that. This will be what? It was root 4k. It can written as 2 root k. Then after that, this is what? Root 3. 1 root with 1 upon 2. 2 root are what? That means 3 to the power 1 upon 4. 3 to the power 1 upon 4. This is what? This is the length of a equilateral triangle. This is the length of the side of an equilateral triangle. That is how we find it out. Now what is A square? A square is very simple. A square is say A will be equal to root k. Then after that is pi r square we need to calculate. This will be equal to what? R is equal to k upon pi. Then r square is there, so root k upon pi. Root k upon pi will be there. Now we know that what is the side of an equilateral triangle, then square and then circle. Right? Let's talk about what is the perimeter. So here the perimeter will be 3a. So we will multiply here 3. 3 into 2 root k divided by 3 to the power 1 upon 4. It is looking only tough. It is not tough. Then after that the area, here it is going to be 4a, 4 root k will be there. Then ratio, this will be what? 2 pi r. This 2 pi will be there, and then after that root k divided by pi. Then it is given like this. Now you can see that what is common? Root k is common, can be cancelled out. Then after that this 2 is common, 2 will be here and 2 is common. So here you are getting 2 we are not getting here, right? So here 2 is given, here 2 is given, here also 2 is given. But here only pi and divided by root pi. So here we will be getting root pi only at the last. Root pi at the last. So which option can be the correct one? Here we are getting 2 root pi, here we are getting 2 root pi, and here we are getting root pi, here we are getting root pi. So root pi into, I hope you are understanding. Either this one or this one can be the correct one. We haven't reached to the question. So for that, if you want to truly reach to the question, it is what? It is 2 root k. Oh, okay, k is balanced. It will be 2 only. And here we will be getting what? Here we will be getting root pi. But what will be coming at this place? You know that 3 to the power 1 upon 4. Here 3 to the power 1 is there. 3 to the power 1 minus 1 upon 4 will be given 3 to the power 3 by 4. And if you know that 3 to the power 3 by 4, here it is 3 to the power 3 by 4. Because it will be what? 3 to the power 1 by 2 and 1 will be giving 3 by 2. And 3 by 2 to the power 1 by 2 will be given 3 by 4. So here in this case, which option is the correct one? Here in this case, the option B is the correct one, not the first one. And why am I saying that? Because if you are going to find it out, what we were getting? 3 to the power 3 upon 4. But here what will be getting? 3 to the power 1 and plus 1 upon 2. So it will be 3 upon 2. But we want 3 upon 4. So the option B will be the answer in such a case. This is about question number 8. Moving ahead, this question number 9 is given, which is based on Silog, and in the last class also we have done question on Silog. So Silog also become very important for the question, and there are 2 ways of solving these kind of question. One is income expense, which will take time. So we are going through the Venn diagram. All teachers are professors. So here it is a Venn diagram for teachers. All teachers and they are professors. Right? They are professors. And then after that, no professor is male. No professor is male. No professor is male. For an example, try to understand, this is male. Some males is engineer. Some males are engineer. Right? So one Venn diagram is possible which is satisfying all the conditions. All the teachers are professors. No professor are male. And then after that, some engineers are male. This is satisfying. This is one Venn diagram. Let's make another Venn diagram. Some teachers are there. Alright. All the teachers are professors. Okay. Professors. And then after that, if we are going to merge it through the engineer, suppose this is engineer, right? This engineer, then after that engineers are connected with those people, male. Some engineers are male. Try and understand. Is it satisfying all the conditions? All teachers are professors? All teachers are professors. No professor is male? No professor is male. Some male are engineers? Some male are engineers. So we have made two Venn diagram which is satisfying all the conditions. Now try and understand. No engineer is a professor. क्या यहाँ पर ये possibility correct है? No engineer is a professor. It can be correct one. It cannot be correct one because there is no clarity that is being given on this part. So we cannot go with option 1. We come to option 1. Some engineers are professors. Some engineers are professors. It can be the correct one. It cannot be the correct one. We cannot say that solely. Some engineers can be professors. Some engineers cannot be professors. We don't know that. no male is a teacher. If that will be that, if these two would have been a probability question, that means if they would have given no engineer being a professor is a possibility, then would have marked it correct. But it is not a possibility sum. So there is no certainty on this part. We cannot go with this. Then third one says no male is teacher. No male is teacher because no professor is male. So all the teachers are within the Venn diagram of professor, so they cannot be male. So only third is the correct option here. So the correct answer here is going to be option A. Only third conclusion follows, none of the other one. Okay. Now this is the last question, and which is from the clock, topic of clock, and we do it in a very detailed manner. But we have got a very basic question that is like a general knowledge. That is like we deal with these kind of questions while we are dealing with the prerequisites of clock. In a 12-hour clock that runs correctly, how many times through the second, minute and hour they have tried to manipulate a question in a way, because most of the time the question we deal with, how many times the minute and hour and pull, overlap. So the answer is 11 times, right? 11 times in the 12 hours of time, 11 times the minute and an hour have they overlap, right? Because between, this is the story between 1 and 12. What happens is between 1 and 11 it only overlap one time, exactly at 12, right? So that is why in 12 hours of time it only overlap 11 times. So the answer here is going to be 11 times, but the only manipulation they have done to this question is they have given the second. So when hour and minute hand are colliding, only one time second hand will come and it will overlap. So the possibility will remain same. It will overlap only and only 11 times. So that is from my side. In today's class we had discussion on the previous question paper of 2022. We will be coming up with some different type of question, and this is something which is very important to have an understanding of the general aptitude, what kind of question we do get in the exam, and how to solve these kind of questions, what should be the right approach, right? So thank you so much for watching this video.
KP classes dedicated to excellence.